Chapter 665. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow, dressed in a white battle robe, wandered around the various cities of the Seven-Star Dynasty. In the eyes of those who didn't know him, he looked like a young master who was sightseeing. No one would have thought that he was actually a killing god. Baidu search love go divided by Xiao Xiao www.ix. Knight Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. He just took it as a trip. If there was a suitable city he would make a move. If there wasn't he would endure and wander to the next city. Once again he came to a city called Meteor City. Knight Sorrow found a tea house near the city lord's mansion. He ordered a pot of tea and observed the city lord's mansion. After drinking a pot of tea, Knight Sorrow was startled because an acquaintance had come. It was Star Tiger, the one who didn't win the previous battle. Damn. It's you bastard. Seeing Knight Sorrow, Star Tiger was startled for a moment. Then he sat opposite Knight Sorrow. Baidu searched love go divided by Xiao www.ix. Hee. I didn't expect to see you here. Knight Sorrow raised his teacup at Star Tiger. This lord doesn't want to see you. Nothing good happens when I see you. Last time I was tricked by you. You want to trick me again this time? Star Tiger was a little depressed. Last time when something happened his family didn't say anything. However, he took the initiative to ask for a demotion and became the city lord here. Knight Sorrow's appearance made Star Tiger feel very conflicted. He couldn't do anything to Knight Sorrow. The news of Knight Sorrow killing Xuanhuan had already spread. Meeting once is a coincidence. Meeting twice is fate. This time I'll leave. Looking at Star Tiger, Knight Sorrow stood up and left the tea house. He didn't want to make things difficult for a real man. Love go xiao shua wuku. If you don't make things difficult for me, then no matter what the Seven-Star Dynasty decides, I won't appear on the battlefield against the Night Moon Dynasty, Star Tiger shouted as he looked at Knight Sorrow's back. Knight Sorrow waved his hand and left the vicinity of the city lord's mansion. He took the teleportation array and left. Knight Sorrow hated Seven-Star Dynasty, but he had a good impression of Star Tiger. He didn't want to go against his own wishes. Follow your heart. Knight Sorrow did as he pleased. The city lord is here. Who are you greeting? A man also entered the tea house. Vice City Lord also came to drink tea. I just sent away a jinx. I didn't expect him to give me face. Otherwise our city lord's mansion would be in ruins. Star Tiger said with some emotion. That fella just now was Knight Sorrow? The Vice City Lord looked at Star Tiger in astonishment and asked. Yes, he is much stronger than before. If he wants to fight then I can only watch him burn, kill and plunder. I'm not his match. Star Tiger said. The Vice City Lord didn't say anything. He knew that he had avoided a disaster. After Knight Sorrow changed cities, he continued to find in and near the city lord's mansion to rest or go to a tea house to drink tea and investigate the city lord's mansion. In the next 6 days, Knight Sorrow destroyed 2 more cities and killed 2 level 3 supremacies. After receiving the news, Star Tiger didn't hate Knight Sorrow. He knew that if Knight Sorrow attacked him he might not be able to survive. Feeling that the Seven-Star Dynasty was about done, Knight Sorrow went to the Qingming Dynasty and started to burn and kill. In the current situation, Knight Sorrow felt that the Tianfeng Dynasty was the most difficult to deal with. After the Qinji Tower took care of the Tianfeng Dynasty, the Tianfeng Dynasty's territory became smaller. Therefore it was easy to defend. Each city lord's mansion often had people whose cultivation level Knight Sorrow couldn't see. After cleaning up the Qingming Dynasty, Knight Sorrow planned to return. He had been out for a long time. If he didn't return, others would be worried. The other dynasties were also more obedient at the border. Flying Star City's city lord's mansion had a guest. It was a green-robed woman. This woman was personally received by Star Tiger. Ahu, why did you come to this city? You can go to a better city or stay in the capital. It wasn't your fault that you couldn't defeat him last time. After sitting down in the city lord's mansion, the green-robed woman took a sip of tea and said, I don't want to stay in the capital. The atmosphere in the capital is too extravagant. It is not a good place for cultivation. As for the big cities, the city lords of the big cities have too many things to do. Their cultivation would be delayed. If it weren't for Big Nephew, he wouldn't have been able to keep an eye on Flying Star City. What's wrong? The green-robed woman asked. That Knight Sorrow came again. However, he didn't touch the Flying Star City because we had fought before. Otherwise, I don't know if I could survive. This Flying Star City would definitely be in ruins. Star Tiger said with a sigh. It seems that guy isn't someone without a bottom line. He's not incurable. The green-robed woman said. She was Princess Luo of the Seven-Star Dynasty. Her name was Xing Lo. Yes, I admire him. He has the courage of a man. And look at what he did alone. The Red Leaf Dynasty didn't compromise? Our family's troops didn't retreat? Isn't it the same as admitting defeat? Star Tiger said. This is undeniable. There has never been such a person in history. He has indeed opened the river of history. Ant came out to capture him. However, he seems to have appeared in the territory of the Qingming Dynasty. Xing Lo said. He won't stop. Who knows when he will appear again? Star Tiger said with a smile. This guy is very cautious. He also has a lot of backup plans. He's afraid of being ambushed. This time he didn't bring a team. He's done it alone. During this time he has destroyed many city lords' mansions. His resources are shocking. Xing Lo said with a clenched fist. Don't tell me you want to do the same? We're not suitable. Star Tiger said with a smile. If our Seven-Star Dynasty had enemies, Ant would do the same. However, our Seven-Star Dynasty only has one opponent, Night Moon. This won't work. Xing Lo said with a shake of her head. When Night Sorrow returned to Sky City, he was met with looks of disdain. This time it's your fault. It might not work with more people, but with just the two of us, it won't be a problem. Didn't we have a good working relationship in the past? Xuanhuan said when he saw Night Sorrow. Xuanhuan, can't you have some bottom line? Why didn't you ask the captain to lead everyone? Why did you ask the captain to lead you alone? Ling Long said angrily. I'm mainly worried that they will set us up. If we were ambushed, we would suffer heavy losses. We can't afford the consequences. Night Sorrow explained his reason. The members of the god-slaying team didn't say anything, because what Night Sorrow said was the truth. You guys go ahead. I'll go back to take a shower and tidy up. Night Sorrow looked at his clothes and said. Night Sorrow went back to take a shower and rest. Yang Lei waved to the other members of the god-slaying squad. We're going home too. Too shameless. This is a public display of affection. Ling Long looked at Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi disdainfully as they followed Night Sorrow back to the mansion. Actually, you're just jealous. Yun Huang pouted. I'm jealous my ass. I just feel aggrieved that I can't go out and fight. I have to hurry up and cultivate. It's so frustrating that I can't raise my realm. Ling Long said as she rubbed her blonde hair, which was the same as Yun Huang's. Only one positive T version, all others are Y, is Robber O version. Chapter 666. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow returned to the mansion and went to take a bath. Yang Lei called for the servants to prepare food and wine while Sikong Chiyu brewed a pot of tea. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow felt refreshed and at ease when he saw the three girls. Drink some tea and relax. Aoi poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Sixth senior sister, are you used to it? Yishang asked Qingji after taking the teacup. Everything is fine. You don't have to worry, Aoi said with a smile. Chiyu, have you noticed? 13 is a little biased. He has always doted on his sixth senior sister, Yang Lei said as she held Sikong Chiyu's hand. Night Sorrow and Aoi smiled. Actually, sixth senior sister has a gentle personality and doesn't like to talk about many things. That's why Night Sorrow is worried. We can take care of ourselves and we'll talk about it. Everyone chatted casually and the atmosphere was very harmonious. The three girls got along very well just like sisters. Sixth senior sister, here are 2 wind attribute crystals. Take them and strengthen your attributes. Night Sorrow handed the wind attribute crystals he got from Chen Haofei to Aoi. This is good. My attributes can be strengthened too. Aoi smiled as she accepted the wind attribute crystals. Night Sorrow then told Aoi that her actual combat strength should be improved in the direction of speed. Wind attribute cultivator's strength was speed. Currently, Aoi's movement technique was flexible enough. She was elegant and free but she lacked speed. After eating, Yang Lei suggested that the 4 of them go to the wooden boat under the lake to watch the night sky, drink tea and chat. It was rare for Night Sorrow to have some free time, so he told the 3 girls about his trip and also about his encounter with Star Tiger. That's the right thing to do. It's better to leave some leeway in everything. Besides, he's also a member of Tianji Tower. Even if we fight against 7-Star Dynasty on Night Moon, it won't be awkward for us to meet in the future, Sikong Chiyu said. Most importantly, he's a very straightforward person. He says whatever he wants to say. Since that's the case, there's no need for me to make things difficult for him. Besides, choosing another city to attack won't be too difficult. Night Sorrow laughed as he explained the reason why he didn't make things difficult for Star Tiger. The environment is so beautiful, We should get a big boat in the future, the kind that we can live on. We can set it out when we have time. We can go deep into the lake and have fun for a few days, always shared her opinion. Then we can find a craftsman to make one. You can decide what kind of boat you want. It's fine as long as it's comfortable. If it's too extravagant, then it's meaningless. Night Sorrow shared his opinion. Aoi and the other two girls nodded. They all understood Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a casual person who didn't pursue material comforts. If Night Sorrow was such a person, then with his current wealth, he could buy as big and luxurious a mansion as he wanted. Building a large manor wouldn't be a problem. After drinking 2 cups of tea, Sikong Chuyu looked at the fish on the lake and said, "Let's grill fish under the night sky?" "Then you guys do it. I'll sort out the materials." Night Sorrow nodded to the 3 girls and began to sort out the harvest. The operation this time had allowed Yishan to earn a large amount of resources. Yishan now had more than a dozen extra storage rings. 2 of them were filled with high-grade crystals, 3 were filled with mid-grade crystals, and several other storage rings were filled with materials. "You guys eat and play. I'll refine some pills." "There are too many materials," Night Sorrow said. 13 You should keep the materials. After you enter the Venerable Realm, you'll need materials to improve your alchemy skills to the Grandmaster Realm. At that time, you'll need materials to improve your proficiency. Also, the quality of the pills you refine after you enter the Grandmaster Realm will be completely different from the ones you refine now, Aoi said. "That's true. Then I won't refine them for now." Night Sorrow collected the materials. Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 5 After eating grilled fish, they cultivated under the night sky for a while before returning to the mansion. In the following days, Night Sorrow would walk around the practice field after he finished cultivating his spear art in the morning. He would tell everyone about his understanding of actual combat. Although Night Sorrow was young, everyone admired his combat skills. They all wanted to learn from Night Sorrow's combat skills and experience. This included Xuanhuan and Ling Long. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow would return to the lake to play with Tianyu and Silver Fox. Then he would cultivate his spear art and movement technique. Aoi and the other 2 girls would call Night Sorrow back to the mansion after they finished cultivating every day. Night Sorrow loved the feeling of being called home every day. Xianxia would often come over to talk to Night Sorrow about the situation in Night Moon City. After listening to Xianxia's explanation again, Night Sorrow nodded. "I still have teleportation crystals. However, if we continue to set up teleportation arrays, we will suffer heavy losses if we are attacked." That is indeed the case. For now, we should focus on the construction and recovery of Night Moon City, Wuyo City, and Wuemo City. These 3 cities are the foundation of Night Moon. When the clansmen return and the Night Moon City stands strong, we can build other areas, Xianxia said after listening to Night Sorrow. The Night Clan has more clansmen. They don't have enough resources in the Night Moon Sea. Give these spirit stones to them for cultivation. Night Sorrow took out 3 storage rings. One of them contained high-grade spirit stones, while the other 2 contained mid-grade spirit stones. "Alright. However, you can't go out and fight alone anymore. It's too dangerous. Our Night Moon dynasty really can't afford to take this risk." Xianxia looked at Night Sorrow and said. Currently, the core members of the Night Moon dynasty were not around. The Night Moon dynasty was in a low state. Otherwise, Night Sorrow, who was a direct descendant of the Night Moon dynasty whose innate talent surpassed all the predecessors of the Night Moon dynasty, would definitely be one of the most important people to protect. Why would they let him go out and take risks like this? Actual combat is the best way to temper a person. Without going through actual combat, how can a void inquiry stage cultivator like me fight against a Venerable Realm expert? I've already gotten over it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What you said makes sense. However, there must always be a limit. Your 6th uncle is really worried about you. However, I really can't let you go out and kill like this. Xianxia said. This was the limit. If a peak Venerable Realm expert like Xianxia went to the enemy's territory to kill, the enemy would no longer tolerate it. They would directly engage in a life-and-death battle. At that time, even if the Yun clan dynasty was holding them back, the other 5 great dynasties would not stop either. It would definitely be a bloody battle. The Night Moon dynasty would be ravaged once again. Night Sorrow was different. Because Night Sorrow was not a Venerable Realm expert yet, the enemy certainly could not send a Venerable Realm expert to the Night Moon dynasty's territory to kill. It would be useless for anyone below the Venerable Realm to come here. If they could not achieve what Night Sorrow did, it would be no different from sending themselves to their deaths. 6th uncle, what we can control now is stability. As long as we can stabilize the situation and wait until our clansmen with high combat power return, everything will be fine. Knight Sorrow looked at xianxia and said. Chapter 667. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. I haven't seen the glory of the Night Moon Dynasty, but I will witness the rise of the Night Moon Dynasty once again. I will witness the process. Love go little say, Knight Sorrow said. You're wrong. You're a part of the rise of the Night Moon Dynasty. You're an indispensable part. You're the most important part, xianxia said to Knight Sorrow. It's not as serious as Sixth Uncle says. I'm just doing what Night Moon Dynasty's people should do, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That's not up to you or Sixth Uncle to decide. Night Moon Dynasty's people have their own judgment. Xianxia shook his head and shook off some of his emotions. He knew that the future of the Night Moon Dynasty was given to him by Knight Sorrow. The current situation of the Night Moon Dynasty was stabilized by Knight Sorrow. The people of the Night Moon Dynasty were able to come out because of Knight Sorrow's resources. Sixth Uncle Knight Sorrow, the food is ready. Aoi called out to Knight Sorrow and xianxia. After that, Yi Shang and the three women ate with xianxia. Xianxia was happy. He was happy to see Knight Sorrow and the three women getting along well. He was happy to see Knight Sorrow taking charge of things on his own. He hadn't been this happy in over 20 years. While they were eating, Wu Lingfei arrived. She had returned to the eastern Xian region some time ago. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www. Xuxs. When he saw Wu Lingfei, Knight Sorrow got up and added a chair for her. King Lingxia is also here. Wu Lingfei nodded at xianxia, who cupped his hands in greeting. Auntie Fei, is something the matter? Knight Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei, who had a cold expression on her face. Yes, I just came back from the Medicine Valley. To be precise, I just came back from Taichuan behind the bamboo forest peak where you live. Wu Lingfei nodded and said. Did something happen over there? Knight Sorrow stood up. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www. Yes, there's a problem and it's not just there. There's also a problem in the Qingtian domain, similar to what happened to Taichuan, said Wu Lingfei. What's the situation now? Knight Sorrow asked worriedly. He didn't care about other places but he couldn't ignore the Medicine Valley. Genuine initials XT hair, we can confirm that it's a spatial world close to the 9-domain world. The canyon behind the Medicine Valley and the spatial black hole in the Qingtian domain are connected to the 9-domain world. Now, the war in the Qingtian domain has begun. The situation in the eastern Xian domain's Medicine Valley is not serious, but the netherworld energy has already erupted. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www. Said Wu Lingfei. Knight Sorrow paced back and forth anxiously. He was worried about the situation in the Medicine Valley, but he was also worried that something would happen in the Night Moon Empire after he left. He couldn't let go of this. Auntie Fei reached the entrance to Taichuan in the eastern Xian domain, but she couldn't enter. She used the power of laws to resist the pressure, but the result was a spatial collapse. After entering Taichuan, the spatial collapse continued. In fact, it was equivalent to entering spatial turbulence. She couldn't enter the real Taichuan. Your master tried to enter, but he was directly blasted out by the power of laws in Taichuan. Wu Lingfei explained the situation to Knight Sorrow. In other words, it requires people below the Venerable Realm to enter? Asked Knight Sorrow. That's right. Wu Lingfei nodded. What will come sooner or later. You can't avoid it even if you want to. Sixth Uncle, I'll have to trouble you with Night Moon's matter. I grew up in the eastern Xian domain, and the Medicine Valley is my sect. When they need me I can't escape, said Knight Sorrow to xianxia. Master Wu Kei, Knight Sorrow is the only direct descendant of the Night Moon Empire. Is there no other way? Xianxia didn't want Knight Sorrow to take the risk. Every high-level cultivator knew what kind of place Taichuan was. Wait for me to finish. The entrance to the eastern Xian domain is already guarded, but the situation in the Qingtian domain is more serious. Nether beasts have already rushed out, but they were killed by the Qingtian domain's people. Saints and venerables can't enter, so they can only send in rank 5 cultivators. 2 batches went in but only one person survived. His arm was broken, and his shoulder was bitten off by the nether beast, said Wu Lingfei. What does that have to do with me? I don't care about the Qingtian domain's matters, said Knight Sorrow resolutely. In fact, it has something to do with you. This is the crisis of the 9-domain world. Saints who control the power of laws, which is the origin energy, can feel that the origin energy of the 9-domain world is being attacked. Therefore, the saints of the nine-domain world, except for those who live in seclusion, have all gathered together to discuss how to solve this problem. In the end, they decided to ask you to come out because you are the strongest among the rank 5 cultivators. Wu Lingfei explained the current situation in detail. In other words, if the other rank 5 cultivators can't do it, then they need my child, Night Moon, to charge forward? Xianxia was a bit angry. When Night Moon was in trouble, no one cared. Now that the nine-domain world was in trouble, they thought of Night Sorrow. He naturally didn't want that. The atmosphere was a bit awkward because this wasn't a small matter. Could be said that it was fatal. Xianxia was right. The Silver Dusk Saints side has made their stance clear. As long as Night Sorrow is willing to fight, the Qingtian domain will no longer pursue the matter of the Spacetime Pagoda. In other words, they admit that the Spacetime Pagoda belongs to Night Sorrow. In addition, the saints of the nine-domain world have also made it clear that for the next 100 years, all the powers of the Grand Pure Domain are not allowed to attack Night Moon's empire. Of course, Aunt Fei is only here to pass on a message. Not attacking Night Moon for 100 years? That's enough time, muttered Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. Xianxia looked at Night Sorrow and roared. Sixth uncle, I'm also risking my life to fight the other 5 dynasties. What? It's to give our Night Moon's empire a chance to breathe. It's to buy time for our Night Clan to return. 100 years is enough for Night Moon, said Night Sorrow with a sigh. 13th junior brother, you have to think about yourself, said Aoi as she pulled on Night Sorrow's arm. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu, Yanglei and Aoi. 6th senior sister, I have no other choice. The entrance to Taichuan is in Medicine Valley in the eastern Xian region. I should have gone to fight. I was originally worried about Night Moon's empire, but since the saints of the 9 domains have given their word, that's enough. I haven't let anyone down in the past 20 years. I've never let down the heavens or the earth. It's just that I now owe Chuyu 9th senior sister and 6th senior sister, said Night Sorrow as he looked at Sikong Chuyu, Yanglei and Aoi. Sikong Chuyu, Yanglei and Aoi's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't say anything. They knew that Night Sorrow had already decided to fight, so they could only support him. 6th uncle, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow bowed to Xianxia. Why? Xianxia roared at the sky. The bitterness in his heart was indescribable. Night Sorrow was risking his life to buy time for Night Moon. He felt bitter because Night Moon's future was on the shoulders of a mere 20 years old. Aunt Fei, I still hope that you can think about it. Taichuan was once an ancient battlefield. At that time, anyone could enter and leave as they pleased. But it's not like that anymore because the space has mutated. It's hard to say what's going on inside, said Wu Lingfei. Chapter 668. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Annie Fei, you can go back. Tell them I accept the challenge. Before I go, I want to pay my respects to the Night Clan's ancestors, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Then go back and tell them. Annie Fei will come back. Wu Lingfei nodded and left Sky City. She wanted to object to Night Sorrow's decision, but she had no reason to. Night Sorrow wanted to buy time for Night Moon and also fight for the 9 zones. Xianxia also left. He felt very sad, but he wanted to give Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu some space. 13, can we not go? Yang Lei said as she pulled Night Sorrow's hand. 9th senior sister, as a man, there are some things I can't avoid, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Aoi and Sikong Chuyu didn't say anything. They knew that no one could change Night Sorrow's decision. Yishang picked up the teacup and took a sip. He looked at the 3 women with a smile on his face. I've been through a lot of storms and waves. When have I not returned safely? This time will be the same. Night Sorrow and the 3 girls quietly finished their dinner. Then they took the teleportation array and rushed to Night Moon City. When the 4 of them came out of the teleportation array, they found that the path to Night Moon City was filled with people. They were all citizens of Night Moon. Everyone looked sad because Night Sorrow had said that Night Moon would fight for 100 years with his life. Night Moon's young master, the noblest young master, was going to fight for everyone with his life. How could the people of Night Moon feel good? Night Sorrow nodded at the people on both sides. Then he led the 3 girls to Night Moon City. Night Moon City was already under repair. Many places had already been renovated. Yishang took the 3 women to the central area of the Night Moon sky. Yishang took a look at the steel and then turned to look at the Night Moon Hall that was originally dilapidated but had been repaired. Looking at the groove, Night Sorrow took out the stone tablet from his storage ring. After wiping the dust off it, Night Sorrow jumped into the air. His left finger moved and the groove for Night Moon City's tablet to hang a bit bigger. Then, with a wave of his right hand, Night Sorrow pushed the tablet into the groove. J equals newer, L the soonest AW, Night Moon City, Xianxia shouted. What followed was a chorus of cheers. Night Sorrow returned to the stone tablet and took the incense that Yi Linglan had lit for him. Yi clan's ancestors. Night Sorrow of the Yi clan offers incense to the ancestors. Night Sorrow will go to battle. With Night Sorrow's battle, the Night Moon dynasty will once again stand tall in the Nine Domains world. Perhaps Night Sorrow won't be able to see that glorious scene, but knowing that it will come is enough. Night Sorrow bowed and inserted the incense into the cauldron. Put on the king's battle armor. Xianxia waved his arm. At that moment Yi Xiaoyuan and Yi Xiaoyun walked over with a large red tray. Xianxia walked up to the tray and touched the pure white battle armor. In the past, whenever the Yi clan's emperor or prince went to battle, they would always wear our Night Moon's king's battle armor. Wherever they went, they were invincible. This time, sixth uncle will put on the battle armor for you. At that moment, he was an elder of the clan and speaking as Night Sorrow's sixth uncle. Sixth uncle, Night Sorrow doesn't have the right. Night Sorrow shook his head because he heard Xianxia's words. Those were the battle armor of the emperor and prince. If you don't have the right, who does? You are the pride of Night Moon. Be obedient. Xianxia's voice was choked and his body trembled. It was clear that his heart wasn't calm. Young master, please change. Night Moon's citizens all bowed. At that moment, Xianxia grabbed the battle armor with both hands and shook it. The battle armor unfurled in the wind. It was a pure white battle armor with silver stars embroidered on the chest. The stars surrounded a bright moon. Aoi reached out to help Night Sorrow take off his outer robes. Xianxia then draped the king's battle armor over Night Sorrow's body. Greetings, young master. Seeing Xianxia help Night Sorrow put on the king's battle armor, Night Moon citizens all knelt on one knee. Rise. Night Sorrow waved his arm. Sixth uncle, everyone. When I, Night Sorrow, return, I will drink and chat with everyone here. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards everyone and then led the three women to the teleportation array. Farewell, young master. We await your triumphant return. Seeing Night Sorrow's back, Xianxia bowed. Everyone else knelt on one knee again. When they reached the teleportation array, Night Sorrow turned around and waved at everyone. Then he nodded at Xianxia and started the teleportation array. Night Sorrow returned to Sky City and went directly to the lake. Tianyu and Silver Fox were playing here. Sixth senior sister, Tianyu will fight with me. Silver Fox will stay behind for you to take care of, Night Sorrow said to Aoi as he reached out to pet Silver Fox. Silver Fox was the closest to Aoi. When he was young, Aoi had taken care of him, so they had some feelings for each other. While Night Sorrow was staring at the lake, Wu Lingfei arrived. Behind her were the members of the god-slaying team. Captain, can't you bring us along? Ho Jian asked Night Sorrow. No, I can't. Everyone should cultivate well. When I return, I want to see a different side of you, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, don't reject me. I won't be a burden to you, Xuanhuan said as he took 2 steps forward. Me too. I won't be a burden to you either. Ling Long also walked to Xuanhuan's side. Night Sorrow, don't reject me yet. Bring everyone to the entrance of Taichuan. Go in and take a look. If it's possible, bring everyone in. If it's dangerous, then we'll decide, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded at Wu Lingfei and looked at Ma Zhuang and the others. Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, Chu Ning, pack up and return to the Medicine Valley. 13th uncle, why is that? Chu Ning asked anxiously. Cut the crap. Do as I say, Night Sorrow growled. Then he looked at Aoi Yanglei and Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow, don't say anything. When we paid our respects to the ancestors of the Yi clan, I said that I'm Aoi of the Yi clan. Isn't that enough? Oi said. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow nodded. Even if they were at the entrance of Taichuan, it was still up to him to decide whether the god-slaying team could enter or not. Then, under Wu Lingfei's lead, the group rushed to the Qingtian region. The entrance of Taichuan was in Dongxiang City. After teleporting to Dongxiang City, Night Sorrow asked everyone to put on their masks. After flying for half an hour, the group arrived in front of a big mountain outside Dongxiang City. Black energy was rolling in front of the mountain. There were many camps in front of the mountain. Many people were already stationed there. Wu Lingfei led a group of people to the big tent in the middle. As soon as they arrived in front of the tent, a group of people walked out. The person in front was Xiaolanjun. Half a body's length behind her was a silver-haired woman. Night Sorrow knew that this person was the Qingtian region's Saint Yin Shi. She was also one of the people who wanted the spacetime pagoda. Chapter 669. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded and looked at the others. Night Sorrow knew that they were all saints. Then Night Sorrow's eyes fell on Saint Silver Dusk. You don't have to look at me like that. I said that as long as you fight for the 9-domain world, I won't mention anything about the space-time pagoda, she said to Night Sorrow. I really don't care about that. Could it be that you, a saint, are going to steal my treasures? I am fighting for the 9-domain world. It has nothing to do with the space-time treasure pagoda because the space-time treasure pagoda has always been mine, Night Sorrow said as he looked at Shi. You. Shi was rendered speechless by Night Sorrow's words. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. The result will be the same anyway, xianxia said with a smile. She really liked Night Sorrow. She liked Night Sorrow's domineering aura. Even if the person standing in front of her was a saint, so what? Similarly, he was unwilling to admit defeat. Who's Xuanhuan? Night Sorrow asked after glancing around. I am Taiyuan Saint. Show some respect. Xuanhuan was enraged when Night Sorrow called him by his name. He was a saint, but Night Sorrow had no respect for him at all. Respect? Why should I respect him? Have you done anything worthy of my respect? Night Sorrow stared at Xuanhuan. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com. You really deserve to die. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? Xuanhuan was furious. It was fine if Night Sorrow didn't respect him, but he didn't give him any face at all. I deserve to die? Are you planning to attack me? Night Sorrow sneered. Xuanhuan, that's enough. We've tolerated your past actions. What else do you want? Xianxia glared at Xuanhuan coldly. I want to know if I fight, Night Moon will be safe for 100 years. Can you guarantee that? Night Sorrow asked. Of course. All of you have to make a promise in front of Night Sorrow. Xianxia looked at the saints behind her and said. Following this, the others nodded and one of the elders said, You're fighting for the 9 domains world. Anyone who doesn't keep their word will be provoking all of us and no one will tolerate it. However, if Night Moon declares war, this rule will be voided. That's good. I'll fight later. After confirming the saint's promise, Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't need to ask for anything in the Medicine Valley. As long as Wu Lingfei was there, the Medicine Valley would be safe. Alright, you guys go get some rest. I'll tell you about the entry later, Xianxia said to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow led the god-slaying squad to set up camp. The other saints also entered the large tent to discuss matters. Xuanhuan, what happened back then is in the past. We won't pursue it any further. If you still want to cross the line, don't blame me for not tolerating you. If something goes wrong in this matter, I'll investigate it to the end, Xianxia said. If anyone goes back on their word, I'll fight them to the end. Wu Lingfei also expressed her attitude. Xuanhuan's expression didn't look too good. This was all directed at him. After setting up camp, Night Sorrow gathered everyone in the large tent in the center. Don't take off your masks. You still have to hide your identities. Currently, many of the people here are our enemies. Night Sorrow didn't care about himself. It didn't matter whether he knew them or not. However, he was very concerned about the safety of the god-slaying squad. Everyone nodded. They knew that this was very important. It's good that you know. We'll discuss the battle plan later depending on the situation, Night Sorrow said. After Night Sorrow arranged for everyone to rest, Xianxia, Silver Dusk Saint, and the old man who spoke earlier came over. Wu Lingfei also followed them into the tent. Night Sorrow, this is Zhen Haixing of the North Sea Domain. The blue-robed old man was introduced to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Zhen Haixing. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Zhen Haixing. No need to be so polite, young man. You're a good man. Zhen Haixing nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow ignored Silver Dusk Saint because he was on opposing sides. The matter between him and Jianghu's family wasn't over. Xianxia then explained the situation. The black hole in front of the mountain wall was the entrance to the Supreme River ancient battlefield. A few days ago, everyone had sent people in but their life tablets had all shattered. The longest person had only survived for 5 minutes. There was one person who didn't leave the tunnel, but he was severely injured. He said that the Supreme River ancient battlefield was filled with terrifying nether beasts. Anyone who entered would be surrounded. I expected this situation. What's my mission? Night Sorrow asked. Find out what's going on in this space. The Supreme River ancient battlefield. Other than the 9 regions world, which other worlds are connected to? Xianxia said. Then I'll say it. According to what you said, I'm going in to investigate. However, even if I find the tunnel, I don't know what restrictions there are. If there are restrictions, I can't enter. How do I know what worlds are connected to? Night Sorrow asked. We'll give you some memory crystals. You can record it and analyze it when you come back, Xianxia said. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. Also, make a life tablet and leave a trace of your soul power here. We'll know if you're okay, Silver Sunset Sage said to Night Sorrow. There's no need for that. Auntie Fei, take this. You'll know what's going on. Night Sorrow took the ice silk bag from his waist and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Then Xianxia gave Night Sorrow a few crystal balls. Okay, I'll go out tomorrow, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Then Xianxia, Silver Sunset Sage and True Ocean Sage left. However, Wu Lingfei didn't leave. She still had a lot to say to Night Sorrow. Auntie Fei, if I don't come back, help me look after the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. What nonsense are you talking about? You'll definitely come back. You can move freely in the death space and you can do the same this time. If you feel that you're lacking a lot after entering, find a place to go into seclusion and enter the Venerable Realm. Then your ability to protect yourself will be strengthened again, Wu Lingfei advised Night Sorrow. Okay, I know. I have the space-time pagoda to protect me. It won't be that easy to kill me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The Golden Phoenix soft armor consumes a lot of energy for you now, but it can still block the opponent's sure kill attack at a critical moment. Once you enter the Venerable Realm, you'll be able to use it freely, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow still had the protective bracelet given to him by Tianji Tower, but it was useless. It would shatter after a few attacks from a beginner Venerable Realm expert. It was useless. ## Unique VX Original 8 Edition. Question everyone else is a thief /W edition. The God Slaying Squad insisted on coming, but I don't want to bring them in. It's too dangerous. Auntie Fei will bring them back to the Eastern Profound region later. The outside world is too chaotic and several dynasties want to kill them. Night Sorrow was a little worried about the God Slaying Squad. Don't worry, you're Auntie Fei's relative. Auntie Fei will arrange everything for you. What you need to do is to investigate the situation inside while preserving your life. This is a map of the ancient Taichuan battlefield that Auntie Fei found in the Tianji Tower's library. Take a look at it carefully. Wu Lingfei took out a yellowed map for Night Sorrow. Chapter 670. Genius 1 second. Remember love/go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After studying the map, Night Sorrow discovered that the Taichuan ancient battlefield was 3 million miles wide. After some calculations, Night Sorrow knew that the Eastern Shen region and this place should be at the two extremes of the ancient battlefield. While Night Sorrow was studying the map, the three girls entered the tent and made tea for Night Sorrow. Don't worry, I have a trump card that can save my life. If I want to hide, I have the space-time pagoda. If I want to run, my speed is comparable to a peak elementary supremacy. In terms of agility and dodging, it is even stronger. Night Sorrow drank a mouthful of water and said with a smile. Yes. Although we know that you are very powerful, it is impossible for us not to worry. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and took a deep breath. Aoi took out 2 storage belts and said, When I came out with you, I brought some wine. I planned to give it to you bit by bit when you ran out. Now that I don't know when you will come out, I will give it to you first. 6th senior sister knows me well. Night Sorrow smiled and said as he put away the storage belts. This is tea. Take some. If you feel depressed, make a pot of tea. Sikong Chuyu took out a packet of calming tea. Night Sorrow continued to study the map. He was not worried that he would be killed. After all, it was almost impossible for anyone who was not a high-level supremacy to kill him. Love/go/little, talk/W, aichux. So after resting for a night, Night Sorrow gathered the members of the God-slaying team and gave them a few instructions. Then, he tightened the reincarnation spear on his back and walked towards the camp in the middle. Are you ready? If you are, we will open the seal. Xianxia looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes. Aunt Fei, if I don't come out in 2 hours, let them go back. Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Next, Xianxia and the others arrived before the mountain wall. As they waved their arms, the energy before the black hole began vibrating. Next, gray-colored wolf-type Yao beasts charged out. Let's go. Night Sorrow raised his protective shield, cut through the black energy and charged into the black hole. Using a protective air shield to cut through space. The speed of this movement technique is really overbearing. Xianxia muttered in a low voice. She had given the flickering light passing shadow book to Night Sorrow, but she didn't expect that Night Sorrow had already cultivated it to such an extent. As soon as Night Sorrow entered the spatial passageway, he could feel the oppressive deathly energy in front of him. Night Sorrow activated his protective barrier and slashed forward. After 2 breaths of time, Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. This was a gray spatial world and the aura was very stifling. While Night Sorrow was observing, countless attacks flew towards Night Sorrow. Yishang stomped on the ground and dodged swiftly in midair. At the same time he continued to observe. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that there were many demonic beasts gathered at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. They shouldn't be considered demonic beasts because the aura of these beasts was different from demonic beasts. They had a special aura. These demonic beasts were of the same species, but their cultivation levels and body sizes were different. They all looked very similar to wolves, but the only difference was that they had a single horn. The horn's size and color were also different. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. Doing quickly dodging, Night Sorrow observed the characteristics of these strange beasts. These strange beasts used their horns to determine their cultivation. None of them were below rank 3. Rank 3 strange beasts had gray horns, rank 4 strange beasts had cyan horns, and rank 5 strange beasts had silver horns. The venerable beast chasing after Night Sorrow had a golden horn. At this time Yishan also knew what these strange beasts were. They were the nether beasts recorded in the sealed letter. Their bodies contained the nether energy of the death energy, but it was only one type of death energy. However, if they cultivated it to the peak, they would be able to cultivate death nether energy, which was the ultimate attribute of the death attribute. Controlling it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. At this moment, there were already 6 supremacy level nether beasts attacking Night Sorrow. There were beginner and mid-level supremacy level nether beasts, but none of them chose to transform. They all had wolf heads and wolf bodies with a single horn, but they had a pair of wings. The nether beasts below rank 6 did not have wings, so they most likely had not evolved yet. Night Sorrow unleashed a spatial energy barrier in all directions, dodging the attacks of the nether beasts while escaping into the distance. If there was only 1 or 2, Night Sorrow would choose to fight. However, there were so many Night Sorrow would not fight because he would not be able to defeat them. Night Sorrow was also considering whether or not he should bring Yunhuang and Linglong in. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow gave up on this idea. Xuanhuan and Linglong were very strong, and it could even be said that new Venerable Realm experts would find it difficult to kill them. However, they could not kill Venerable Realm experts, so there was no need for them to come in. Night Sorrow quickly left, making the low-level nether beasts feel quite helpless because they could not keep up. Out of the 6 Venerable Realm nether beasts, only one of them, Yi Sorrow, whose cultivation level was unknown, chased after Yi Sorrow. The others didn't chase after him and were still hanging around the spatial passageway. On the way out, Night Sorrow encountered a level 3 Venerable Realm nether beast blocking his path. However, he changed his path and was not blocked. Seeing the ancient forest ahead, Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the ancient forest. His speed was not as fast as the nether beasts chasing after him. The only reason he was able to run here was because of his agility. After entering the ancient forest, Night Sorrow pushed his speed and agility to the limit. After dodging the nether beast's line of sight, Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the time-space pagoda. Then he controlled the time-space pagoda to rush into the roots of the ancient tree and hide. After hiding well, Night Sorrow used his soul power to observe the outside through the time-space pagoda. At this moment, the nether beast that Night Sorrow could not see through also arrived at the ancient tree that Night Sorrow was hiding in and looked around. Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. As long as it did not notice the time-space pagoda, then he was safe. Standing inside the time-space pagoda, Night Sorrow knew that he was the one who came in. If it was any other level 5 cultivator who came in, then they would have undoubtedly died. The nether beasts that gathered at the entrance of the spatial tunnel were too powerful. Moreover, they were not in a mess but in an orderly manner. This situation also made Night Sorrow understand that the nether beast's intelligence was on par with humans. They were blocking the spatial tunnel to prevent humans from coming in. In addition, Night Sorrow also knew that the nether beasts that rushed out of the spatial tunnel were not high-level nether beasts. There was a Venerable Realm nether beast that ran out and came back. It was not killed. Night Sorrow took out the teapot and started brewing tea. If this nether beast that he could not see through didn't leave, then he would not go out. He did not care about wasting time. At this moment, in the 9-domain world, Xialanjun and the others had sealed the spatial tunnel. However, everyone was guarding the spatial tunnel. As long as they saw Night Sorrow, they would be able to open it in time. BQ head. Wu Lingfei had been paying attention to Night Sorrow's Phantom Dao clone. At this moment, the Phantom Dao that contained Night Sorrow's soul power was emitting a gentle light. This was the state of self-cultivation. If Night Sorrow's main body died, then the soul power within the Phantom Dao would dissipate. Therefore, as long as the Phantom Dao clone was fine, then Night Sorrow's main body would be safe. Chapter 671. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Aoi and the other two wore masks and stood behind Wu Lingfei. The three girls were very worried because the stage 5 cultivators who entered in the past couldn't withstand it and died instantly. Don't worry, he's safe now. He should be able to withstand the most dangerous stage. Wu Lingfei said. After entering, as long as he can withstand the craziest wave of attacks, he will be able to survive. Xianxuan's face was full of smiles because Night Sorrow was Qinji Tower's seedling and had even been selected as the young master. Of course, she was happy that Night Sorrow was fine. Don't be an expert in internal battles, Xuanhuan muttered. Shut up, if you want to fight, I'll fight with you. Wu Lingfei was furious. Her robe shook and she was about to attack. Master Wu Lingfei, wait. Xuanhuan, I've tolerated you for a long time. If it weren't for the 9 regions world strength, I would have killed you immediately. Xianxuan was furious. She couldn't take it anymore. Xuanhuan, you're a saint. You have to act like a saint. Night Sorrow is fighting for the 9 regions world. What are you talking about? If you continue like this, I can't stand it anymore. Zhen Haixing looked at Xuanhuan and said. Xuanhuan didn't say anything. He turned and went to the Tianfeng dynasty's camp. Aunt Fei, there's a seal here. If Night Sorrow comes out, he won't be blocked inside, right? Aoi asked worriedly. He won't. Didn't you see that the seniors are guarding here? They're worried about this. Don't worry. Night Sorrow has killed a level 5 supremacy and crippled a level 6 supremacy. He can still protect himself inside. Wu Lingfei said. The person who came back said that there are many supremacy nether beasts at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. This means that the period after entering is the most dangerous. If we can break through this layer of seal, the danger will be reduced. Xianxuan looked at Aoi and the others and said. Night Sorrow drank tea while observing the situation outside. He was not in a hurry at all. There was no time limit for him to come in. At most, he could continue to cultivate. When he broke through to become a venerable one, he would go back to investigate. While observing, Night Sorrow also confirmed the level of this nether beast, whose cultivation level could not be determined. Its golden horn had 5 spirals, so it was obviously a level 5 supremacy. The nether beast stayed on the ancient tree that Night Sorrow had gotten up from for a while. Then it looked around and left. Little Kong, with you by my side, if I want to run away, it will be too difficult for my opponents to catch me. It's almost impossible, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're satisfied with that? Let me tell you, when you enter the Exalt stage, the space-time pagoda will shrink even more. When it expands, its size will also change. When you enter the Saint stage, your control over the space-time pagoda will become even stronger. When it shrinks, it will become the size of a grain of sand, Shao Kong said proudly. Can't you do it yourself? Night Sorrow asked curiously. Your question is a little stupid. A good knife, no matter how sharp it is, needs someone to wield it to slash people, right? It's the same for a holy treasure. Although it has some abilities, its main power still needs to be controlled by its owner. Otherwise, why would a holy treasure look for its owner? Shao Kong's words were filled with disdain. Alright, I'm stupid. Since it's safe, let's go. It's just that it's hard to say where the spatial tunnel is. Night Sorrow explained the difficulty of his investigation. The place where we entered is where the spatial barrier is. Since the first spatial tunnel is like this, the other spatial tunnel should be like this as well. Of course, that's my opinion, Shao Kong said. Night Sorrow nodded and planned to act according to Shao Kong's suggestion. However, he would still go to the central area and walk around. It was easy for treasures to be produced in special spaces. 10,000 years ago, this place was an ancient battlefield. Many experts had died in battle, so there should be some left behind. In addition, it had been 10,000 years since the last time humans came in. 10,000 years should have produced some rare treasures. After exiting the spacetime pagoda, Night Sorrow moved stealthily horizontally, because that was the way to walk close to the spatial barrier. Night Sorrow's speed was very fast. He quickly flew and began to investigate. Or square root f only I won. Proper G version, he is a thief $V version. F. However, Night Sorrow was very cautious. As long as he consumed more than 30% of his cultivation, he would release Xianyu to fly in his place. He would recover himself and maintain his combat strength. In addition, he kept the spacetime pagoda in his sleeve and did not use it to help him recover. This was because Shao Kong could detect the existence of some rare ores, spirit stones and the like. Shao Kong's probing ability was a bit weaker in Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow's true chi attribute had the ability to isolate it. If Shao Kong insisted on probing, it wouldn't benefit either Shao Kong or Night Sorrow. Shao Kong helped Night Sorrow to investigate, and Night Sorrow could also meditate and cultivate. It basically did not delay anything. In addition, Tianyu would also notice special situations and would remind Night Sorrow in advance. Night Sorrow and Tianyu's speed was very fast. One man and one beast took turns to fly, and they could travel 70 to 80,000 miles per day. During this time, Night Sorrow even collected a few pieces of peak-grade ores. Near the spatial barrier, the possibility of producing high-grade herbs was not high. However, due to the influence of various violent energies, the probability of producing peak-grade ores was high. If any nether beasts or demonic beasts appeared, Night Sorrow would immediately kill them. While traveling, they would see demonic beasts with delicious meat. Night Sorrow and Tianyu would also eat their fill. Their days were quite comfortable. Night Sorrow's disadvantage was that when Tianyu was flying, Night Sorrow had to use resources to cultivate. Without Shao Kong in his body, the effect of assisting his cultivation was greatly reduced. Night Sorrow's side was fine, and the people of the 9 regions world felt more at ease. Night Sorrow lasted for 3 days, which meant that there was not much danger. No wonder they could turn the Grand Clarity region upside down. They have the strength. The people of Night Moon are indeed domineering, True Ocean Saint said. Without the Night Moon dynasty, the Grand Clarity region is no longer the Grand Clarity region of the past, Silver Dusk Saint said. Xuanhuan did not say anything. The saints all knew about his sneak attack on the Night Moon dynasty, and they all despised him. He could not refute this. Among the saints, his cultivation was near the bottom. Although his cultivation was higher than Wu Lingfei's, Wu Lingfei was not afraid of him at all. This was because Wu Lingfei had a high-grade attribute. Give Night Sorrow a guarantee. We still have to keep an eye on him. Nothing can go wrong. Xialanjun glanced at the camp of the Tianfeng dynasty and said. No one trusted Xuanhuan's character anymore. Not only did he attack a saint, but he also sneak attacked a sovereign. This was a person with no bottom line. Wu Lingfei returned to the camp of the god-slaying team. Auntie Fei, will Night Sorrow be okay? Aoi asked worriedly. He has already passed the most dangerous stage. With the spacetime pagoda protecting him and Auntie Fei's golden phoenix soft armor, even high-level sovereigns will find it difficult to kill him, Wu Lingfei said. Then Wu Lingfei arranged for everyone to retreat. There was no point in staying here. Chapter 672. Genius 1 second. Remember Love divided by Go divided by Shao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Although they were unwilling, Yun Ling Long and the members of the god-slaying team left and went to the city in the sky to wait. Baidu search AI Go female sign Shao say www.ichuxs. Currently, the city in the sky was safe. Its geographical location was hidden, and it belonged to the Night Moon dynasty. Whoever attacked it would be equivalent to slapping the sages in the face. It was tantamount to courting death. Wu Lingfei arranged for Aoi Yanglei and Sikong Chuyu to stay in Tianji Tower's camp. It was not a matter of safety, but because no one would dare to start a civil war here. She just felt that it was more convenient. Night Sorrow continued to move forward, searching for the location of the spatial tunnel. He also found that the primordial battlefield was the domain of the Nether Beast. There were only Nether Beasts and no other high-level monsters. Love Gong Shao say low-level monsters did not have much attacking power. To Night Sorrow they were food. When he felt tired, Night Sorrow would catch a prey and roast it. He would drink some wine to relax. It was quite comfortable. On the 8th day, when Night Sorrow was flying, Shao Kong shouted in Night Sorrow's mind, saying that there was a situation on the left. Look at the chapter on the MN version. Night Sorrow stopped and turned his head to look, but he did not find anything. It's not an enemy. The energy there is very dense. There must be treasures underground, Shao Kong communicated with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow followed Shao Kong's guidance and came to the foot of a mountain. It's here. Dig down. The spirit chi is very dense, Shao Kong said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out a weapon from his storage ring that he had obtained after killing a venerable and began to dig. The ground was hard rock. Without cultivation one would not be able to dig it. However, this was not a problem for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's true chi aside, his physical strength was very strong. Love Go Shao Se Koen Shao Kong said to dig. Night Sorrow dug. A moment later, Night Sorrow dug a hole in the hard rock. At this time, Night Sorrow could already feel the rich spiritual energy without Shao Kong saying anything. Night Sorrow began to dig. As Night Sorrow dug deeper, Night Sorrow dug deeper and deeper. After digging for 30 feet, Night Sorrow found his target, a spirit stone vein. Night Sorrow, you have to give me some spirit stones this time, Shao Kong said as he watched Night Sorrow dig. You need spirit stones? Night Sorrow asked as he dug out spirit stones and threw them into his storage ring. Nonsense. When I was in Sky-bearing City, didn't the City Lord's mansion feed me all the spirit stones it collected? Otherwise, how would I strengthen my body if I used up too much energy? Shao Kong's muttering voice sounded in Night Sorrow's mind. Okay, I have a lot of use for top-grade spirit stones. I'll give you some high-grade spirit stones later. Night Sorrow was not stingy with Shao Kong. If Shao Kong needed something, he would give it to him. No need. There is no difference in the grade of spirit stones here. The only difference is the amount of energy they contain. Middle-grade spirit stones are also good. I can absorb energy faster. It's all the same. Shao Kong was very happy. He was happy that Night Sorrow was so generous. Okay, I'll give you more once I'm done digging. Night Sorrow was in high spirits because he had dug out high-grade spirit stones. Okay. Shao Kong replied Night Sorrow. As Night Sorrow dug, the quality of the spirit stones became higher and higher. Shao Kong, to be able to produce so many spirit stones, could there be some kind of treasure? The space barrier here is weak, so energy seeped in. Plus some other reasons it formed spirit stones. There shouldn't be any kind of treasure. Shao Kong analyzed. The spirit stones are already very good. Don't think too much, Night Sorrow said as he dug. Looking at the high-quality spirit stones, Night Sorrow was very excited. These were all incredible resources. At this moment, Night Sorrow was digging a hole. At first there were mostly high-grade and middle-grade spirit stones, but slowly the quality of the spirit stones became higher and higher. When he was 5 feet underground, Night Sorrow dug out a top-grade spirit stone. This time I've made a big profit. Night Sorrow took a sip of wine and said, Your luck is really good. You got so many resources in one go. Shao Kong was also a little emotional. There are also attribute crystals. As he dug, Night Sorrow saw attribute crystals. There were all kinds of attributes, but they were all normal attributes. There were no high-level attributes. Night Sorrow knew that this was due to the chaotic nature of the spatial turbulence. There were all kinds of attributes. It was possible for them to form crystals, but high-level attributes were difficult to form. After digging for more than half a day, the ground was filled with holes. Only then did Yi Shang finish digging out all the spirit stones and crystals. Returning to the surface, Night Sorrow tidied up his robes. The ground was filled with rocks and spirit stones, so it was not dirty. Night Sorrow sorted out the spirit stones. Then he enlarged the space-time treasure pagoda and threw the mid-grade spirit stones he had plundered into the space-time treasure pagoda. 2 storage rings were filled with mid-grade spirit stones. There were about 7,000 to 8,000 of them. Although 7,000 to 8,000 mid-grade spirit stones was a huge amount of wealth, it was nothing to Night Sorrow. He had robbed many cities from several dynasties. Thus he had a lot of mid-grade spirit stones. Enough. Seeing that Night Sorrow wanted to continue throwing spirit stones into the space-time treasure pagoda, Shao Kong stopped Night Sorrow. How long can this last you? Night Sorrow asked. If it's just for your cultivation, then this is enough for 2 years, Shao Kong said. That's not a problem. Night Sorrow calculated and felt that he could still afford it. It was not a burden. It was just 1 or 2 top-grade spirit stones. This was Night Sorrow. In the eyes of ordinary cultivators, top-grade spirit stones were something that could only be found by chance. Transactions were mainly done with mid-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. High-grade spirit stones were the hard currency. This time, Night Sorrow had a big harvest. There were close to 100 top-grade spirit stones, 700 to 800 high-grade spirit stones, and over 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones. There were also spirit stones. Most of them were of the wind and water attributes. There were fewer of the other attributes. Night Sorrow also dug up 6 spatial attribute spirit stones. After organizing his harvest, Night Sorrow continued on his way. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with such a harvest. He already had a lot of resources, but he still felt that it was not enough. He wanted to store some resources for Night Moon. He also wanted to take care of his brothers in the god-slaying team. He could not watch his senior brothers and sisters lack resources. Furthermore, as his cultivation level increased, Night Sorrow would also need them. After advancing for a month, Night Sorrow found the first spatial passageway. As for where it led, Night Sorrow did not know and could not find out. This was because the spatial passageway was filled with nether beasts. It was similar to where Night Sorrow had come from. Night Sorrow wanted to go to the spatial passageway and use the memory crystal to record. As for what the situation was, a saint would analyze it. It was not his problem. The spatial passageway was the intersection of two worlds or two spaces. The energy on both sides conflicted. Therefore, experienced cultivators could make a rough judgment. Chapter 673. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Say net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow was having a headache because he couldn't get close. There were too many nether beasts and many of them were supremacies. Love, gone little say W, Night Sorrow's soul power was strong. When he was far away he noticed that there were too many nether beasts and became more careful. Otherwise, he would have rushed into the nether beast pit and had to run for his life again. After avoiding the nether beasts for a while, Night Sorrow couldn't go any further because there were too many nether beasts. Unless he forced his way through, there was no way he could get close. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow entered the spacetime pagoda. He then controlled the spacetime pagoda to move forward when the wind blew. Every time the wind blew, Night Sorrow would move forward a bit. There was no problem with safety. It was very stable. Night Sorrow moved forward steadily. He just needed to find an opportunity to record with the memory crystal. After half a day, Night Sorrow got close to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. Then he had to figure out how to record. Night Sorrow controlled the spacetime pagoda to fly into a dense bush. He scanned the surroundings and felt that it was safe. Night Sorrow hesitated for a while and chose a suitable position. He used his soul power to send the memory crystal out of the spacetime pagoda. Then he used his energy to activate the memory crystal. Baidu search AI go female xianxia say www.ichuxs. So the memory crystal started to spin and recorded everything around. When it recorded the scene, it emitted a faint light, which attracted the attention of the nether beasts. Fortunately, it didn't take long before the memory crystal stopped spinning and finished recording everything. After recording it, Yishang's soul power returned to the crystal ball. Then he controlled the spacetime pagoda to smash into the ground. Moreover, it was very deep. Yishang planned to hide for a while. When the nether beast wasn't paying attention, he would find an opportunity to escape. As soon as Night Sorrow hid, two nether beasts came to investigate and destroyed the bush. The two nether beasts probed for a while, but they didn't find anything and left. This situation made Night Sorrow heave a sigh of relief. If he wasn't discovered, then escaping wouldn't be a problem. Inside the spacetime treasure pagoda, he brewed a pot of tea. Night Sorrow slowly sipped on it as he searched for an opportunity to escape. Outside, when everything was calm, it would be easy for him to be discovered if he used the spacetime treasure pagoda to leave. Thus he had to wait for an opportunity. Since there was no chance, he would just have to wait for an opportunity. Night Sorrow sat down and cultivated on the spot, letting Shao Kong observe the situation outside. On the second night there was a strong wind. After Little Sky notified Night Sorrow controlled the spacetime pagoda to fly out from the ground. Then he flew along with the flying sand and pebbles towards a safe area. Shao Kong, it's all thanks to your help. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to complete this mission. Night Sorrow was very grateful to Shao Kong. If not for Shao Kong's ability to hide, Night Sorrow would not have been able to get close to this place. After floating for 100 kilometers, Night Sorrow felt that his soul power had been greatly depleted. Thus, he controlled the spacetime pagoda to land. Next, he began resting and recovering. This distance could be considered a safe zone. Baidu search AI go female xianxia say www.ichuxs. After using an hour to fully recover, Night Sorrow once again controlled the spacetime pagoda to move some distance away before exiting the spacetime pagoda. He released Xianhu and allowed Xianhu to fly. Night Sorrow was still near the spatial barrier. However, he was more careful because he had almost barged into the nether beast's nest. That would have been extremely dangerous because there was a golden horn in front of the spatial tunnel. On top of it was a nether beast with 6 spirals. That was a level 6 supremacy nether beast. If he was discovered by it, it would be very difficult for Night Sorrow to escape. Night Sorrow sat on Qianyu's back and cultivated. The scouting was done by Shao Kong and Qianyu. However, whether it was Shao Kong or Qianyu, their scouting abilities were very strong. In the 9 Zones world, outside the spatial black hole, they were still waiting. I wonder how long this guy will take to come back, Zhen Haixing muttered. I've seen the map. The ancient Supreme River battlefield is at least 3 million miles long. It won't be that easy to scout, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow is a responsible person. He won't just go in and walk around. Since he agreed to scout, he will definitely scout very carefully. This will take a long time. Maybe a few months, maybe half a year or even a year. Let's just wait here, Xialanjun said. Translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. The others nodded. They had all gone through a long period of cultivation, so their patience was not a problem. Wu Lingfei came to Always tent. Aunt Fei, is there still no news? Oi asked. No news is a good thing because it means he's safe, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. I believe in 13. In terms of combat and survivability, this is definitely his forte, Yang Lei said. That's right. Night Sorrow has been fighting for survival and development for the past few years. He's already trained, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Lingfei said. Although she was a little worried, she didn't want to share her emotions with the three girls. At this time, in a renovated mansion in the Night Moon Dynasty, Xianxia sat in the main seat. His face was full of self-blame and his condition was not very good. Someone from Yuexiang City has come. Elder, do you want to meet him? Yi Linglan bowed to Xianxia. Why didn't we stop him? Why didn't we stop him? Why did we let him go? How are we going to explain this to the family? Xianxia took a sip of wine from the wine jar beside him. After letting Yi Shang go, Xianxia regretted it immediately. He had let the younger generation shoulder the burden because this wasn't something Yiyu's people should do. Yiyu had never done this before. Now, he didn't even have the face to report this to his family. Elder, the young master will be safe. This kind of young master is the pride of Night Moon. Someone from Yuexiang City has come. Elder, do you want to meet him? Yi Linglan bowed and said. His heart was just as bitter because Night Sorrow had gone out to fight. This was the consequence of being unable to change the situation as an elder. Yuexiang City? They still have the face to come? Tell them to scram. When the young master returns, this king will report and expel them from the Night Moon Dynasty. They will no longer be people of Night Moon. Xianxia slammed the table and growled. At this moment, Xianxia's heart was filled with frustration and self-blame because Yi Shang had stood up for Yiyu, but he couldn't do anything. How could he not be angry when the people of Yuexiang City appeared at this time? Then your subordinate will send them back. This time, they came because they heard the saint's order and knew that no one would be able to attack Yiyu within 100 years. They have no bottom line when it comes to doing things, so they don't deserve to be Yiyu's people. Yi Linglan bowed and walked outside. When Yi Lingnan had rejected Night Sorrow and was unwilling to build a transmission array in Yuexiang City, Yi Linglan had felt very upset when he saw Night Sorrow's disappointed face. So, Yi Linglan had always remembered that scene. Chapter 674. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. After that, Yi Linglan told Yi Lingnan about Yi Lingxia's intentions. He didn't want to give them a chance to see Yi Lingxia because he knew that it would be better if they didn't see him. Yi Lingxia's emotions were unstable right now. If he saw them, he would want to kill them. In addition, Yi Linglan felt that Yuexiang City had betrayed the Night Moon Dynasty. This wasn't the action of one person. Perhaps it was Yi Lingnan's decision at that time, but what about after that? If the other vice city lords and deacons of Yuexiang City cared about the Night Moon Dynasty and wanted to contribute to the Night Moon Dynasty, they would have come looking for them after that. However, that wasn't the case. They only appeared when the Saint token appeared. Elder Linglan, no matter what, we are still people of the Night Moon Dynasty. We are here to pay our respects to His Highness. How can His Highness not see us? A young man said. People of the Night Moon Dynasty? Don't mention this again. I was a little tactful earlier. Now I will be more direct. Night Moon City will be a forbidden area for you. King Lingxia has ordered that if he finds you entering the Night Moon City again, he will break your legs and throw you out, Yi Linglan said coldly. He was very disgusted with these people. After reprimanding them, Yi Linglan called for the guards to chase the people of Yuexiang City away. Then he turned and left without even looking at them. Yi Lingxia used his trembling hand to write a letter. It was a letter asking for forgiveness. In the letter, he explained the details of the situation and the reason why Yi Shang had gone to battle. In addition, he was asking for forgiveness and asking the clan to punish him. After writing the letter, Yi Lingxia sighed and set off. Although he couldn't face the family, he still had to deal with the matters that needed to be dealt with. Night Sorrow had been advancing every day. Sometimes, he would encounter a nether beast with a higher cultivation and would kill it. This was mainly to get used to the rhythm of the nether beast's attacks. After fighting a few times, Night Sorrow could feel his own situation. He could kill third-rank sovereign nether beasts, but it was quite strenuous. He couldn't kill 4th rank nether beasts because the nether beast's attacks were extremely berserk. Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash wasn't very effective as it would be blocked by the nether beast's defenses. Moreover, the nether beast's horns would release soul power fluctuations to block the soul destruction slash. Fortunately, Night Sorrow was fast enough. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill the level 3 nether beast. Night Sorrow didn't rest every day as he followed the spatial barrier. If he encountered a nether beast, he would avoid it. He knew what was going on, but he didn't plan to fight. He was here to scout the situation. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's cultivation base was also improving rapidly. His true chi cultivation base was getting closer and closer to the peak void inquiry stage. On the 3rd month, Night Sorrow saw the 3rd spatial passageway. According to the map, this was the spatial passageway that led to the Medicine Valley. The passageway was very hidden. However, there were still some nether beasts gathered there. Night Sorrow recorded the location of the passageway again using the old method. Next, Night Sorrow carefully analyzed and confirmed that this was the Medicine Valley. This spatial passageway was located in a valley. The spatial passageway was straight up and down. In other words, one could only fly out of the passageway. This was exactly the same as the Medicine Valley situation where one had to dive all the time. After confirming that this place was not very dangerous and he was not worried about the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow left and continued his exploration. On the 4.5 month, Night Sorrow's cultivation base reached the peak void inquiry stage. In other words, he could break through to the Venerable Realm at any time. However, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to break through to the Venerable Realm. Venerable Realm experts might not necessarily be able to do what a peak void inquiry stage expert could do. In addition, Night Sorrow also wanted to consolidate his cultivation base. Having a solid foundation now would only be beneficial for the future. On the 5th month of his exploration, Night Sorrow saw the 4th spatial passageway. This place was extremely terrifying because countless nether beasts came from here. Night Sorrow did not know what kind of world it was, but there were many nether beasts there. There were also countless Venerable Realm nether beasts. The number of Venerable Realm nether beasts he had seen was much more than the number of Venerable Realm nether beasts he had seen in the 9 regions world. However, Night Sorrow felt that it was still possible for him to explore the place since it was a little chaotic. After spending 3 days, Night Sorrow reached the vicinity of the spatial passageway. Then he waited for another 2 days and took the opportunity to record the situation here. Night Sorrow was certain that this was the source of the problem. After recording it, Night Sorrow followed the chaotic nether beasts and left this area. Then he continued to explore the passageway while staying close to the void. "You're really steady. You can break through but you don't want to." Shao Kahn could not understand Night Sorrow. "I'm not in a hurry. I'll only try to break through when I encounter a situation that I can't handle. I need to consolidate my strength first. Besides, if a powerful enemy appears, I can directly hide in the Time and Space Treasure Pagoda. I can also break through in the Time and Space Treasure Pagoda." Night Sorrow explained his reason. On the 6th month, Night Sorrow returned to the starting point. However, he did not see any spatial passageways during this period. In other words, there were 4 spatial passageways here. Night Sorrow did not plan to leave immediately. He planned to walk around and collect some resources before leaving. He had been sneaking around for the past few days and did not have the opportunity to explore everywhere. The nether energy here was very dense. Night Sorrow felt that there might be an origin stone here. However, he did not dare to say if he could find Night Sorrow. After all, that thing was a heaven-defying treasure and required heaven-defying luck. After taking the opportunity to record this place, Night Sorrow left. This time, Night Sorrow did not sit on Tianyu's back. Instead, he flew a distance away from Tianyu. This way he could explore a wider area. Tianyu's talent was undeniable. He was very sensitive to heaven-defying treasures and high-grade herbs. Along the way, Night Sorrow collected herbs. Under Shao Kang's guidance, he was also able to collect some ores. Night Sorrow was having fun here. Outside, Wu Lingfei, Aoi Yanglei, and Sikong Chiyu were very worried. This was because Night Sorrow had been in there for too long. It had been half a year. Why hasn't he come out yet? Sikong Chiyu looked at Wu Lingfei anxiously. Wu Lingfei thought for a moment and said, "The area inside is very big. I guess he hasn't finished exploring it. In addition, there have been no human footprints there for 10,000 years. This guy probably wants to collect some materials." Yang Lei said, "That's his style. As long as he's fine, we can wait in peace. The longer we wait, the more advantageous it is for him. Maybe he's already a supremacy." That's possible. Sikong Chiyu thought so too. Just as they were talking, something strange happened in the spatial passageway. A man with a wolf's head and a gray crystal horn appeared and started attacking the human camp. Wu Lingfei waved her arm and retreated with the girls. This was a saint. Wu Lingfei did not want the girls to be in danger. See, only Joe 1xf positive dollar version /T, his W his Q square root are all, steel C, version. Seeing this man appear, the Silver Sunset Saint attacked. Chapter 675. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. This nether beast saint fused with the nether energy and retreated back into the spatial passageway. Once Xianxia gave chase, the spatial passageway started to collapse. It was filled with deep spatial cavities. Damn it! Xianxia cursed and retreated. The origin source of the 9 domain worlds has been damaged. This has caused the cultivators of the 9 domain worlds to suffer a great loss, Silver Sunset Saint said somewhat angrily. This was the disadvantage of the 9 domains world. Its origin was shattered, and it was at a disadvantage compared to other spaces. For example, the other saints could attack, but the people here couldn't. They didn't even have the chance to enter. Why is there a saint here? Wu Lingfei's expression became unsightly. With a saint here, Night Sorrow was in great danger. Night Sorrow could escape from a venerable's attack, but he would die if he met a saint. This is a serious problem. Xianxia lowered her head and pondered. What should we do? We can't just let them beat us up like this. We should seal them completely. Otherwise, if a few saints rush out and we can't stop any of them, the people of the 9 regions world will be plunged into misery and suffering. Silver Dusk Saint looked at Xianxia and asked. No, Night Sorrow is still inside, Wu Lingfei objected. This is a difficult problem. Xianxia's face was also very ugly. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. The group of saints were all thinking because this was a difficult situation. If they did not seal it, they were afraid that a nether beast saint would run out. If they sealed it, what would happen to Night Sorrow? One had to know that Night Sorrow had fought for the 9 domain world and was still alive. If they sealed Night Sorrow inside, it would be unfair to Night Sorrow. It doesn't matter if the 9 realms' essences are shattered. The main problem is that one of them is missing, causing the 9 realms' world's natural laws to be incomplete. It's at an absolute disadvantage when fighting against other space essences and world essences. A middle-aged man appeared, and in 2 flashes, he appeared in front of everyone. Greetings, Long Xianxing. Love go little say Xianxia cupped her hands in greeting. Silver Dusk Long Xianxing. Silver Dusk also bowed. The other saints also bowed in greeting. I have never thought of leaving the Eastern Shen region, but the danger this time is too great. If it is not resolved, the 9 regions world will face a great calamity. The man with a pair of dragon eyes, a tiger nose and a wide mouth said. The most peculiar thing about this middle-aged man was that there was a single golden horn in the middle of his hair. The problem now is that a young man from our 9 domain world has gone in to investigate. If we seal this place, it would be equivalent to us abandoning him. Xianxia explained the situation of Yi Shan's investigation. It is almost impossible for a 5th-order cultivator to survive with a saint blocking the way. However, we cannot abandon the people who are fighting for the 9 domains world. This has nothing to do with cultivation. Long Xianxing said and then looked at Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei also looked at this middle-aged man. Senior, you can't. Wu Lingfei was stunned. There's nothing I can't do. I was born and raised in Eastern Shen domain. It's only right for me to greet the Dongshen City's city lord. You've worked hard all these years. I already knew when the city lord was at Eastern Snow Mountain. I also know that the city lord was severely injured. I could help the city lord at that time, but I still hope that the city lord can be tempered and walk out of this hurdle by yourself. Senior, you know me? Wu Lingfei was very surprised. Of course. This seat knows that the city lord was born in the East Snow Mountain and grew up there, because this seat lived under the Sea of Ice Plains. Now that the city lord has entered the saint realm with the life attribute, this Dongshuan's origin, the city lord can refine it. Long Xianxing took out a fist-sized sparkling object and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Dongshen origin? Holding the crystal with green light, Wu Lingfei looked at Long Xianxing in shock. That's right. Actually, it also contains the life attribute. It's just right for the city lord. From today onwards, the city lord is the domain lord. Long Xianxing said politely. Senior, is it not suitable for you? Wu Lingfei was not willing to accept this gift without knowing why. No, the attribute is not suitable. I've kept it for many years and finally found someone suitable for it. Long Xianxing nodded. Thank you, Senior. Wu Lingfei cupped her fists at Long Xianxing. I can't care about the matters here. If the city lord refines the origin, the laws of Eastern Shen domain will be completed. We will no longer be suppressed by other dimensions. Long Xianxing then left in a flash. After thinking for a while, Wu Lingfei waved her arm and kept the Dongshen origin back into her body. Dongshen is Wuyo, but the problem in front of us still has to be solved. Xialanjun looked at the direction Long Xianxing left and said. At this moment, another nether beast saint rushed out. There were 2 of them and they started to attack. The 9 domain saints also started to attack and the battle became intense. Seeing that they could not defeat the 9 realms saint, the 2 nether beast saints retreated back into the spatial tunnel. The silver dusk saint chased after them and struck out with his palm. At the same time, the 2 nether beast saints also counterattacked. Equals 5 heads $. Following an explosion, the silver dusk saint was pushed back. Following that, the spatial passageway collapsed and the spatial passageway turned into spatial turbulence. Wu Lingfei took a few steps forward, and a cold expression appeared on her face. The spatial tunnel had collapsed, which meant that Night Sorrow would not be able to return. However, she could not blame Silver Dusk Saint. Silver Dusk Saint had not done it on purpose. No one had expected such an outcome. Everyone quieted down because they all understood what this situation meant. After a moment of awkward silence, Xialanjun let out a long sigh. Set up the seal. Set up the strongest seal so that we can't get in and they can't come out. At this time Aoi Yanglei and Sikong Chuyu rushed over. The 3 girls' faces were pale because this was the last thing they wanted to see. Wu Lingfei waved her arm and stopped Aoi and the other 2 girls. The spatial tunnel here has been destroyed, but there is still a spatial tunnel in the Medicine Valley. As long as Night Sorrow is alive, he can come out. Then we have to go back to the Medicine Valley. Yang Lei looked at Wu Lingfei and said, Wait, let's go together. Wu Lingfei nodded at Aoi and the other 2 girls. It's good that you go back. Refine Dongshuan's origin as soon as possible. That way, the passageway in the Eastern Shen region will also reject the enemy saints and supremacies. Then the danger will not exist. Xialanjun said to Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that this was also the reason why Long Xianxing had sent Dongshuan's origin. Grand Elder, we are going back. If there is any news here, please inform us as soon as possible. Wu Lingfei looked at Xialanjun and said. I will. Also, if there is any news from the Eastern Shen region, please inform this seat as soon as possible. Xialanjun's eyes were a little dim because she felt that Night Sorrow's chances of survival were very slim. The spatial tunnel here had collapsed and turned into spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow could not come out. In addition, there was the Nether Beast Saint inside. This was the most fatal thing. You will definitely come out. Wu Lingfei nodded with certainty. Chapter 676. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go Divided by Little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow will be fine, right? Sikong Chiu looked at Wu Lingfei with hopeful eyes. Night Sorrow will be fine. Look, this is his soul clone. It's flashing, which means that he's fine. As long as he's alive, everything will be fine. You know that he brought the map in. He will compare it with the 9 regions world and find the exit of the Medicine Valley, Wu Lingfei said, expressing her hope. We've let that kid down. He fought for the 9 regions world and is still alive. We really left him there, Zhen Haixing said with a sigh in front of the spatial turbulence. Xialanjun nodded. She was very sad because Night Sorrow was the future pillar of Tinji Tower. But now his chances of survival were very slim. Night Sorrow was not in a hurry. He collected materials every day. This was the no man's land, so there were naturally many materials. Night Sorrow also had a large storage space. As long as there were resources, he could collect them. Tianyu often found them. Shao Kong helped to find ores. She was the most sensitive to ores. At night, Night Sorrow simply entered the Spacetime Pagoda to rest and cultivate. It was very safe. If he met an opponent, Night Sorrow would hide in advance. Even the Nether Beast, whose cultivation was higher than his, could not threaten him. When the opponent came to investigate, Night Sorrow would have already controlled the Spacetime Pagoda to hide in the ground. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. After more than a month like this, Night Sorrow felt that it was time to go back. He was not in a hurry, but he was worried that the girls would be. Then Night Sorrow took the Spacetime Pagoda and sat on Tianyu to rush to the area where the spatial tunnel was. When they were still 100 li away from the spatial passageway, Little Kong reminded Yi Shang that the spatial energy in the vicinity was not right. It was much more violent than before. Night Sorrow put away Tianyu and then flashed into the spacetime pagoda. Then he controlled the spacetime pagoda to fly close to the ground towards the spatial tunnel. This was the last step. He did not want anything to go wrong at this time. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.aichuxs. So the nearby spatial turbulence was violent. As long as the thumb-sized spacetime pagoda flew close to the ground, it would not be detected. When they were about 5 kilometers away from the spatial tunnel, Yishang stopped. Shao Kong told him about the current situation. What? Shao Kong did not respond to Night Sorrow because she did not understand the situation. Then we should go back. If we can't, we can use Spatial Ren to break open the spatial turbulence and rush out. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow made a decision. No. There are 2 special auras near the spatial turbulence. Those are the auras of saints. I used the spatial energy to investigate. That's why I was not discovered. If we continue to advance in that direction, we will be asking for trouble. Shao Kong interrupted Night Sorrow. Q new /chapter ZK previous 1 you hearing Shao Kong's words, Yishang was stunned for a moment. This situation was beyond his expectations. Then he understood that it might be because of the battle between saints that caused the spatial collapse. That was why he was thrown inside. After organizing his thoughts, Night Sorrow sat down to recover. He had been using his soul power to control the spacetime pagoda to fly. He had consumed a lot of his soul power. 4 hours later, Night Sorrow had completely recovered. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow controlled the spacetime pagoda to leave the place by using the energy fluctuations. He planned to go to the spatial tunnel in the Medicine Valley area and go out from there. Controlling the spacetime pagoda, Night Sorrow left 100 miles away. He released Tianyu to hurry. Sitting on Tianyu's back, he continued to recover. At the same time, he let Shao Kong feel the energy fluctuations. Knowing that there were saints, Night Sorrow could not be careless. This was fatal. This time, Night Sorrow did not walk along the spatial barrier. Instead, he walked in a straight line. He was a little anxious. He was mainly worried about the situation outside. He was worried about Wu Lingfei, Xikong Chiyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi. The battle between saints was a shocking battle. Anything could happen. Night Sorrow was rushing at full speed to ensure his safety. At full speed, Night Sorrow estimated that it would take a month to reach the entrance of the Medicine Valley area. It was nearly 3 million miles away. No matter how fast he and Tianyu were, they would not be able to reach it. The distance was too far. On the 7th day, when Night Sorrow was about to switch with Tianyu, Shao Kong called out to Night Sorrow and told him that there was a situation. Could it be a saint? Night Sorrow entered the spacetime pagoda in a flash. Then he controlled the spacetime pagoda to hide underground. Why are you so nervous? There are strong energy fluctuations on our right. That's not the aura of cultivation. If I'm not wrong, there should be a treasure, Shao Kong said with a smile. Yes, I'm too nervous. However, we can't be careless now. A saint has appeared. If we're discovered, I'll be easily killed and you'll be easily refined, Night Sorrow said with a bitter smile. Then, Night Sorrow left the spacetime pagoda and flew in the direction that Shao Kong had pointed out. He rushed toward the place where the energy fluctuations were. After a while, Night Sorrow arrived at a strange place. It was a big black lake. The lake water contained an extremely rich power of death. Night Sorrow flew toward the lake. After flying for 2 hours, he saw a special phenomenon. There was a huge whirlpool in the center of the lake. In the middle of the whirlpool, there was a dark bead. The death bead. Night Sorrow recognized it. It was the origin of space, the death bead. Night Sorrow quickly approached the death bead. When Night Sorrow was 200 feet away from the death bead moved. It directly shot out, bringing with it a stream of light. Then it fell into the dark lake water. Seeing the death bead disappear, Night Sorrow did not chase after it. This was because the death bead was flying too fast. There was no possibility of him catching up. This was not fate. Night Sorrow could do nothing about it. However, Night Sorrow saw something else. Below the original location of the death bead, there was a tall and thick stone pillar. At the top of the stone pillar was a pool of green liquid. Life spirit liquid. Night Sorrow recognized it. It was the life spirit liquid. It was much richer than the life spirit liquid formed by the life saintess' own energy. Without saying anything, Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and directly cut off a section of the thick stone pillar. After grabbing the upper half, he summoned Tianyu and sat on Tianyu's back. Then he looked at the pool of life spirit liquid. Night Sorrow knew what was going on. This was the essence produced when the death bead was formed and the life energy in the surrounding space was forced out. The death bead needed energy to form, and it needed pure energy. The energy that could not be mixed in was the life energy. As it was squeezed and repelled, the life spirit liquid was naturally formed. This was only a short time. If it was for a long time, it would form a life origin stone. Yishang didn't have a jade jar in his storage ring, so he took out the mysterious jade that Wu Lingfei had given him. He waved his reincarnation spear and cut off a piece. Then he carefully covered this half of the stone pillar and put it into his storage ring. The storage ring was an independent space. The situation outside would not affect the inside. The life spirit liquid in the stone pillar would not be spilled. Chapter 677. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. And there is indeed an energy fluctuation below, but do you have a way to dig? Shao Kong also felt it. Even if I don't have a way, I still have to think of a way. Am I just going to look at the spirit stones and not do anything? I also want to move this pillar, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow noticed that this stone pillar was made of a very valuable white jade stone. Now that it had been infected by the aura of the life spirit liquid, the aura of life was very strong. It could be said that it was a spirit jade stone that contained life energy. Then you should think of a way to dig down. Although Shao Kong knew that there were spirit stones below, it was not easy to get them out. Can you help me with this? I will support this protective barrier and dig down. After digging a hole, your main body will press on top of the hole to prevent the water from seeping in. Then I will dig a hole at the bottom of the lake. Night Sorrow said his idea. He found that the bottom of the lake was made of hard blue stone and not a muddy pond. Your idea is not bad. Then we will do as you say. Shao Kong thought for a moment and said, the outside of the spacetime treasure pagoda was always protected by energy, so it was not afraid of the death energy in the lake. Night Sorrow put away the xianxia, took off the king's battle armor, and supported a protective barrier before falling into the lake. After falling to the bottom of the lake, Night Sorrow took out 2 long swords that he did not use and started digging at the bottom of the lake. Night Sorrow's arms had the strength of tens of thousands of jin, so it was not a problem for him to do some physical work. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, he had dug 2.5 feet into the ground. Then, Night Sorrow flashed out of the deep hole and released the spacetime treasure pagoda, smashing it towards the top of the deep hole. With a loud boom, the bottom of the lake was smashed down by the spacetime treasure pagoda. Night Sorrow entered the spacetime pagoda and exited from the bottom. Then he used his energy to envelop the water in the bottom of the spacetime pagoda that was still more than 10 feet deep. Then he flashed back into the spacetime pagoda and appeared in the lake. He threw away the lake water that was enveloped in his energy and then entered the pit through the spacetime pagoda. There was no more water in the pit, so Night Sorrow continued to dig. You're really smart. Doing this is no different from digging underground outside. Little Kong was also very impressed with Night Sorrow. He could think of any method. After that, Night Sorrow used his energy to wrap up the excess soil and threw it into the lake through the spacetime pagoda. After digging 4 feet deep, Night Sorrow finally saw the sweetness of the harvest. He saw spirit stones. Following that, Night Sorrow began digging left and right. When he was tired, he returned to the spacetime pagoda to rest. Night Sorrow didn't seem to be in a sorry state as he maintained his protective shield. When he dug 6 feet deep, Night Sorrow dug out a crystal. This was his goal. When he found the Death Fate Pearl and Life Essence liquid, Night Sorrow felt that there would be death crystals and life crystals. That was why he was so excited. Where there were crystals, there would naturally be top-grade spirit stones. After digging out dozens of spirit stones, Night Sorrow finally finished digging. When he felt that there was nothing left, Night Sorrow came out of the pit and controlled the spacetime pagoda to come out of the water. After putting away the spacetime pagoda, Night Sorrow took a deep breath and flew to the side of the spiritual jade pillar. He hugged the spiritual jade pillar and began to pull it up. With his body's strength of tens of thousands of kilograms, and with the help of his true energy and the myriad Daos treasured tome, Night Sorrow was able to pull out the spiritual jade pillar from the bottom of the lake. This spiritual jade pillar was very long, about 13 to 14 feet. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had enough space in the storage ring of the Dark Spirit Saint, so he was able to store it. Done, let's go home. Clapping his hands, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and flew towards the predetermined route. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Yishang counted his harvest this time. There were close to 40 life crystals, 100 death crystals, and 100 extreme-grade spirit stones. Needless to say, there were more than 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. Yishang directly threw the mid-grade spirit stones into the storage ring he had looted, not even bothering to count them. If you can get out safely, find a place to cultivate in peace. No one can stop your footsteps. Xiao Kong said. She naturally knew what these resources meant. At this time, at the bottom of the valley behind the bamboo forest peak in eastern Shen Domain's Medicine Valley, there was a group of people standing guard. The leader was Wu Lingfei, Lin Yuandao, and a few others. Long Xianxing was also meditating at the side. Wu Lingfei was refining Dongshuan's origin. Aoi Yanglei and Xikong Chuyu were not far behind her. Not far from them were Hua Yunpeng and Yu Yangyu, who were meditating. Wu Lingfei, who was meditating, shone brighter and brighter, and then people could not look at her directly. Then the energy in the sky rolled and a multicolored light appeared. The multicolored light gathered and directly entered Wu Lingfei's body. Then the multicolored light reappeared from Wu Lingfei's body and rushed towards the sky, spreading in all directions. First, success. The laws of Eastern Shen Domain have been completed. Although it is only the laws of life energy, it is enough. It is not something that can be suppressed by any space. Long Xianxing stood up and said, "Thank you for your help." Wu Lingfei bowed to Long Xianxing. "There is no need. This seat does not want to be involved in any karma. I just want to cultivate in peace. But if Eastern Shen Domain is not peaceful, how can it be peaceful? Also, that young man should be fine. He does not look like he will die young. At the same time, he is also a person with great fortune. When he comes back, tell him to meet this seat at the old place of the Ice Plains Sea when he has time." Looking at the pitch-black entrance of the spatial passage, Long Xuanxing's figure flashed and he left. He left because this place was safe. The laws of the Eastern Shen region had already been perfected, and it wasn't something that the Supreme River Ancient Battlefield could suppress. The venerables and saints in the Supreme River Ancient Battlefield could not come out either. It could be said that they were in an equal state. Wu Lingfei looked at the spatial passageway with mixed feelings. Although she had become the domain lord, she was not happy at all, because the people she cared about were still fighting inside. It was unknown whether they could come back alive. "Domain lord, can you think of a way to save Night Sorrow?" Yu Yangyu came to Wu Lingfei's side and bowed. Everyone knew that Wu Lingfei had become the domain lord. Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng were very worried after knowing about Night Sorrow's situation. They were very worried that something would happen to Night Sorrow. It could be said that the situation in the Medicine Valley today was caused by Night Sorrow. No matter who was in trouble, they did not want to see anything happen to Night Sorrow. "All of you back off. This seat has Dongshuan's origin to protect me. Let's try again." Wu Lingfei waved her arm and sent the people around her to a safe area. Then she held up a green protective shield full of vitality and rushed towards the spatial passageway. As Wu Lingfei rushed forward, the energy in the spatial passageway began to surge. In front of Wu Lingfei was no longer a spatial passageway, but a spatial turbulence. "It still won't work. As long as we move forward, the place will collapse wherever we go." Wu Lingfei, who had retreated, said with a sigh. The energy of death and the energy of life were opposite. The Supreme River Ancient Battlefield did not allow Wu Lingfei to enter because it would threaten the very foundation of the space. Chapter 678. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Everyone sat down and waited. No one wanted to give up on Night Sorrow. As long as there was hope, everyone would wait. Wu Lingfei sat cross-legged on a praying mat. Night Sorrow's phantom Dao stone avatar was placed on her lap. She was using her life energy to nourish it. Night Sorrow sat on Tianyu's back and quickly advanced. He was in a hurry to get out. There was already a problem with the spatial tunnel. If there was another problem here, it would be a big problem. Their chances of getting out would be slim. Night Sorrow and Tianyu flew in turns. Even at night, they were still rushing. They were getting closer and closer to the Medicine Valley spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow was also getting more and more anxious. He wanted to see Aoi Yanglei and Xikong Chuyu. He wanted to see Wu Lingfei, who was worried about him. After rushing for another half a month, Night Sorrow arrived near the spatial tunnel. This time Night Sorrow did the same as last time. He hid in the spacetime pagoda and approached the spatial tunnel. There are no changes here. As long as this spatial tunnel leads to the 9 regions world, there shouldn't be any problems. The strongest nether beast is only a level 6 supremacy. Little Sky informed Night Sorrow. With Night Sorrow's explanation, Little Sky knew how to distinguish the nether beast's cultivation. There shouldn't be any problems. Whatever will just charge in. The strongest nether beast here was a level 7 supremacy. Night Sorrow wasn't too worried about his safety. His soul power urged the spacetime pagoda to fly quickly. When the nether beast felt that something was wrong, Night Sorrow had already arrived at the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow activated his spatial energy shield and flashed out of the spacetime pagoda. He rushed towards the spatial tunnel. The mutated spatial energy shield cut through the tunnel's energy, and the nether beast's attacks all landed behind Night Sorrow. It was dark inside the spatial tunnel, but Night Sorrow did not care about that. He just charged forward because the nether beast's energy bombardment was behind him. If he was slow, he would be bombarded. In 2 breaths of time, Night Sorrow rushed out of the spatial tunnel. Then he controlled the protective energy shield to cut left and right. He was worried that he would be attacked after leaving the spatial tunnel because he could not be 100% sure that this was the 9-domain world. The moment Night Sorrow charged out, Wu Lingfei moved. Her left arm pulled Night Sorrow to her side, and she waved her right hand to kill all the nether beasts. At this moment, the nether beasts that rushed out were all below the supremacy realm. How could they withstand Wu Lingfei's palm? Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei reached out and grabbed Night Sorrow's arm. Anifei, I'm back. Fortunately, this is really the Medicine Valley's tunnel. Otherwise, I would really be finished. Night Sorrow heaved a sigh of relief. Night Sorrow. Sikong Chuyu's eyes were filled with tears as he walked to Night Sorrow's side. Yang Lei and Aoi also came over. Their eyes were filled with tears. They had been under too much pressure these days. Night Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged them one by one. It's okay. It's not that easy to kill me. I'm back safely. Everything went well. Then Night Sorrow greeted Hua Yunpeng and Yu Yangyu. Seeing Night Sorrow return, the two were very happy. Night Sorrow was the Medicine Valley's signature. As long as Night Sorrow didn't fall, the Medicine Valley wouldn't fall. Then Wu Lingfei set up a ceiling formation here. Without any nether beasts above the supremacy realm attacking, the ceiling formation wasn't difficult to set up. After setting up this place, the group returned to the bamboo forest peak. Sikong Chiyu was in a good mood and made tea for everyone. Night Sorrow, you really scared Auntie Fei this time. You seem to be in good condition. You can break through to the supremacy realm at any time. Wu Lingfei sized up Night Sorrow and said, Yes, I could have broken through a while ago, but I was worried about the restrictions of the spatial tunnel, so I didn't. Since I'm back, I won't think about this problem. I'll go into seclusion to break through later. Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow told everyone about the situation he encountered in Taichuan. It seems that the situation is very serious. Rest for a few days, then we'll go to the Qingtian region and tell them about the situation. Wu Lingfei said. Then Hua Yunpeng and Yu Yangyu left. Night Sorrow chatted with the girls and told them what he saw. It seems that the Taichuan ancient battlefield has taken shape and has its own origin. The spatial origin bead ran away because it doesn't recognize you and is afraid that you will hurt it. Wu Lingfei said. Then Night Sorrow gave the water attribute crystal he dug up to Sikong Chuyu, the wind attribute crystal to Aoi, and the thunder attribute crystal to Yang Lei. He only dug up a few thunder attribute crystals, but Yang Lei was very happy. In fact, she was very satisfied with Night Sorrow's return. The latest Y chapter, you understand? Upper Art Aunt Fei, this is the life crystal I dug up. Night Sorrow took out the life crystal and placed it in front of Wu Lingfei. I used to need this, but I don't need it anymore. Keep it. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She was really happy because Night Sorrow treated her sincerely. He didn't hide anything from her at all. Why doesn't Aunt Fei need it anymore? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. Then Wu Lingfei told him about the Dongshan origin bead she had obtained. It was the life origin bead, so it could absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and convert it into life energy. It could be said that Wu Lingfei's cultivation would be faster than before. That's great. Night Sorrow was happy for Wu Lingfei from the bottom of his heart. Also, if you have time, go to the sea area east of the Far East ice field. Long Shenxing should be the one who gave you the mystical tortoise crystal back then. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. So that's how it is. In that case, I still owe him a favor. Night Sorrow was a little emotional. He couldn't imagine that the huge dragon tortoise back then was actually a saint, and an amazing one at that. It was an expert that even Xialanjun and Silver Sunset Saint had to bow to. Wu Lingfei didn't need it, so Night Sorrow put away the life origin bead. Then he took out the spirit jade pillar he had obtained and waved the reincarnation spear, cutting off 2 feet thick jade pillars for everyone. Everyone take this. It should be good to meditate and cultivate on it. A jade pillar with life energy of more than 100 feet. Night Sorrow, your ability is really amazing. Wu Lingfei was also impressed by Night Sorrow. After chatting for a while, Wu Lingfei went to Dongshan City. She had to arrange some things and give Night Sorrow and the other 3 some space. Night Sorrow and the other 3 made tea and chatted. 13 You've gained a lot this time. Not only did you get a lot of resources, you also bought time for Night Moon Empire to rest and recuperate. Yang Lei said. So it's like this. Danger is accompanied by opportunity. As long as Night Moon is given time, then Night Moon will definitely rise. Night Sorrow was also very gratified. Chapter 679. Genius 1 second Remember love/go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After staying at Taishan Peak for 2 days, Night Sorrow and Senior Brother had a few drinks and planned to leave. He still had to report the results of the investigation to Xialanjun and the others. When Night Sorrow and the others were about to leave, Gong Xian and the others did not force them to stay despite their reluctance. They all knew that Night Sorrow had a lot of things to do. Before leaving, Night Sorrow went to Danding Cliff again to talk to the 8-Dragon Cauldron. Then he took the 3 girls to the teleportation array and left Medicine Valley. When they arrived at Danding City, Night Sorrow did not go to see Father Gu. Now that Father Gu was in good condition, he was not worried. Then, Night Sorrow went to the mansion in Dongshan City and went to see Wu Lingfei at the observation tower. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow, "You're back. Let's go to Dongxiang City to take a look. Also, tell them the results of the investigation. Then this matter will be resolved." "Okay, we can set off now," Night Sorrow said. At the same time, he looked at Ma Shizhuang and the other 2 who were running over from the martial arts field. 13th Uncle, take us with you," Ma Shizhuang shouted. These days had been torture for them. They were all worried about Night Sorrow. "Okay, let's go together." Night Sorrow nodded. There was no danger now, so Night Sorrow would not reject them. Love, Gong Little, Say, W, Chu. They took the teleportation array and teleported directly to Dongxiang City. Sikong Chiyu pointed at an inn not far away and said, "You guys don't have to follow us. It won't do you any good if people recognize you as members of the god-slaying team. Chiyu, you guys wait here for a while. We'll be back soon." Sikong Chiyu and the others nodded. They knew that Wu Lingfei had made this arrangement to protect them. After watching them enter the inn, Wu Lingfei brought Night Sorrow to the spatial turbulence outside Yuexiang City. At this time, in front of the spatial turbulence, most of the people had already retreated, but the saints were still there. Seeing Wu Lingfei and Night Sorrow, the group of people were very surprised. They were surprised that Night Sorrow would appear here. "Night Sorrow, you're out. I'm glad you're okay." Xialanjun was very excited. "Thank you for your concern, Senior. I'm out." Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. "Did you come out very early and never come over?" A black-robed elder looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He was a saint from the Western Nether region and was not very interested in Night Sorrow. "Ah, Saint? I can't be bothered to explain. Senior Xie, Senior True Sea Saint, I've checked all the places near the spatial barrier and found 4 spatial tunnels." Night Sorrow didn't care about what others thought. It was fine as long as he did it. 4 spatial tunnels? Xialanjun frowned. The Taichuan primordial battlefield covers a huge area. I spent 7 months probing the spatial barrier and found 4 spatial passageways and 4 spatial crystals. This one is inside the spatial turbulence in front of us, this one is inside the Medicine Valley spatial passageway, and the other 2 are unknown spatial passageways. After saying that, Night Sorrow took out 4 memory crystal balls. "Beautiful. Well done." Xialanjun took the 4 memory crystal balls and said excitedly, "There's one more thing I have to make clear. When I was recording in the spatial turbulence, there was no saint. When I came out the second time, there was already a saint. At that time, recording was no different from suicide. I couldn't do it," Night Sorrow said to Xialanjun. "Very good. You've done very well." True Sea Saint nodded. "Night Sorrow, I want to ask, is there no way to resolve the hatred between you and Jiyu's family?" Silver Sunset Saint looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "Resolve? How can I resolve it? Their venerable has attacked me, a void inquiry stage cultivator, several times. If I don't resolve it, I'm not a man. However, since Silver Sunset Saint has spoken, it's fine if I want to resolve it. They have a venerable with the time attribute Jiyuhao. Some time ago he brought another venerable with him and tried to kill me. If he commits suicide, I'll let bygones be bygones." Night Sorrow said. Silver Sunset shook her head and stopped talking. Venerables with the time attribute were too rare. Jiyu's family would not be willing to accept them. As a saint of the Qingtian region, she was not willing to accept them either. "The venerables of Jiyu's family attacked you?" Xialanjuan's face turned cold. "Some time ago, a friend and I were chased by 2 venerables of Jiyu's family from Dragontail City to Night Moon City. Although we were injured, we didn't lose our lives." Night Sorrow nodded. "Wuji Saint, Let's not make a big fuss over the matters of the younger generation. Seeing Xianhuan's unpleasant expression, Silver Sunset Saint quickly said, Senior, there are some things that I can resolve on my own. Night Sorrow glanced at Silver Sunset Saint and said. He did not want to put Xianhuan in a difficult position. I'm a member of Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow is a member of Tianji Tower. You all know that. It's just that none of us have said it out loud. If such shameless high-level cultivators appear again and attack the core members of Tianji Tower, don't say that I'm not being considerate. Xianhuan glanced at the few saints around her and said. Next, everyone looked at the crystal ball while Night Sorrow explained the situation at that time. When they saw the spatial passage where the nether beasts kept gushing out, everyone's expression changed because the situation was very dangerous. The Supreme River space is a battlefield, but it doesn't repel the nether beasts. Why does it repel us? True Ocean Saint said gloomily. The Supreme River space has been formed and has the space origin. It's of the death attribute, so it doesn't repel the nether beasts of the same attribute, Night Sorrow said. How can you be sure? Xianhuan asked. I saw the space origin bead but it repelled me and flew away. I can't catch up with it with my cultivation. Night Sorrow explained the situation. That's because you don't have enough opportunities and can only miss it. If a cultivator of the death attribute went in and refined it, the problem would be solved directly, the saint from the Western Nether region said. Facing such contempt, Night Sorrow did not want to explain or refute. He knew whether he had enough opportunities or not. With the Void Fate Jewel in his possession, would Yishang care about other essences? Xianhuan glanced at the saint from the Western Nether region and did not say anything. Wu Lingfei also felt it was funny and did not explain because she knew Night Sorrow's situation the best. Everyone was analyzing the situation, and Night Sorrow stood to the side. He was not interested in this situation and had nothing to do with it. Starter, too, the saints analyzed it and felt that it was very dangerous so they could not solve it. The Supreme River space had the same attribute as the Nether Beast, so the Supreme River space was the Nether Beast's backyard. The 9 regions world could only passively defend. A moment later Wu Lingfei came to Night Sorrow's side. What does everyone think? Night Sorrow asked. Chapter 680. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? It provides you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, We have so many saints. It won't be dangerous. The Nether world is a very ancient world. The Nether beasts produced there are also death elemental. High-level elemental combat power is strong. This is very difficult to solve, Wu Lingfei said. That's true. Those Nether beasts are indeed strong, but if the sky collapses, those saints will be there. It won't have much to do with me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, you've done what you should and shouldn't do. That's enough. Wu Lingfei nodded. Then Andy Fei, are we going back? Night Sorrow asked. I can't go with you for the time being. After all, the saints are here. It's not appropriate for me to leave, Wu Lingfei said. In the end, Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow to return to the city in the sky and wait for her. She also told Night Sorrow to leave the Phantom Stone clone with her for a while. She would help Night Sorrow use the life force to nourish it. In the future, Night Sorrow's clone would have more life force and be stronger. After chatting with Wu Lingfei for a while, Night Sorrow left. There was nothing for him to do here. Xikong Chuyu and the others were still waiting for him. After flying back to Dongxiang City and calling for Xikong Chuyu and the others at the inn, Night Sorrow led everyone to take the teleportation array and left. Baidu searched Love Gong Xiao Shua www.atux. So after arriving at Taiching City, Night Sorrow first went to Tianji Tower to teleport to the base of Tianji Tower, then to the mansion and then to the city in the sky. Greetings, young master. I'll inform the Lord now. Yiling Lan was very excited. He directly went to the teleportation array and rushed to Night Moon City. Does it have to be so complicated to teleport 2 more times? Yuan Shizhuang muttered. Night Sorrow glanced at Ma Shizhuang and said, Caution is the parent of safety. It's best if we don't expose ourselves. Why bother looking for trouble? Brat, don't be fooled by the fact that you're about the same age as your 13th martial uncle. Let's not talk about battle prowess, just your experience in jianghu is too lacking. If you can avoid any mistakes, try to avoid them. Don't you understand such simple common sense? Yang Lei waved her hand and slapped the back of Yuan Shizhuang's head. 9th martial ant, you're too rude, Ma Shizhuang muttered as he rubbed the back of his head. So what? As long as your 13th martial uncle likes me, I don't care what others think. Yang Lei glanced at Ma Shizhuang and said. Ma Shizhuang sighed. That was the truth. It didn't matter how violent Yang Lei was because she was already engaged to Night Sorrow. She didn't need to change herself. Seeing that Night Sorrow had returned, the members of the god-slaying squad were very happy. During this period of time they had lost their backbone. Seeing that Night Sorrow had returned, they felt at ease. Liue, arrange a table of delicious food. Let's have a good gathering tonight. Night Sorrow nodded at Nan Liue. Don't leave me behind next time. I'm already a supremacy. I have the ability to conquer the world with you. Xuanhuan came over and punched Night Sorrow's chest. He had broken through to the supremacy realm some time ago. This is a special situation. It's not that I didn't want to bring you guys along. It's just that I had no choice. Night Sorrow said. He didn't want everyone to take the risk. There was no way to fight in the Taichuan battlefield. There were all high-level nether beasts. If the god-slaying squad didn't go in as a supremacy, they would be looking for trouble and destruction. Nan Liue called for everyone to help prepare the food and wine. Xueling rode the silver-winged eagle out and caught a white bear to roast. While everyone was busy, xianxia came over. When he saw Night Sorrow, he patted his shoulder heavily twice. It's good that you're back. Otherwise, Sixth Uncle wouldn't be able to live on. Sixth Uncle, you're being too serious. By the way, this is the king battle armor. I've already washed it. Night Sorrow took out the battle armor that he had washed and folded in the bamboo forest. This will be your battle armor from now on. You're also about to break through to the supremacy realm. When the time comes, I'll apply for a title for you. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation base had advanced to the peak void inquiry stage, xianxia was very happy. He then pushed the battle armor back to Night Sorrow. Sixth Uncle, did everything go smoothly? Night Sorrow asked. The construction went very smoothly. Those dynasties didn't look for trouble anymore. However, we can only build the cities near Night Moon City. Some of the cities are still occupied by the few great dynasties. Xianxia said. Don't worry. They've all retreated. In the future, it won't be easy for us to attack them even if we want to. Let them stand and we'll slowly deal with them. Night Sorrow said coldly. After that, xianxia told Night Sorrow that some time ago when Night Sorrow was massacring the great dynasties, they had retreated from some of the regions. Now those regions were already under Night Moon's banner. The great dynasties would not dare to snatch those regions back. That's good. Build as many regions as you can. I wonder how long it will take for the people of my clan to come out. Will that be enough time? Night Sorrow muttered softly. It's enough. There won't be any problems at all. Xianxia said with certainty. Then let's rebuild the teleportation formation later tonight. Night Sorrow felt that since it was safe, he could use the large-scale teleportation formation that Wu Lingfei gave him. After that, xianxia took out a map and circled the cities that belonged to Night Moon City and needed to be built with Night Sorrow. Of course, when the two of them saw Yuexiang City, Night Sorrow straightened his back. Sixth Uncle, I don't care about Yuexiang City's matters. Xianxia smiled and told him what happened a while ago. He also told him about his attitude. At the same time, he suggested that Night Sorrow issue a young master's order to expel Yuexiang City from Night Moon's dynasty. Night Sorrow shook his head and did not follow xianxia's suggestion. He felt that Yuexiang City's matters should wait until the Night Clan members returned. Those people were the ancestors and the people who made decisions for Night Moon. While Night Sorrow and xianxia were chatting, Nan Liue and the others had already prepared the dishes. The roasted bear meat was also placed on the table. Everyone was very happy. Night Sorrow also drank to his heart's content. He did not refuse anyone who wanted to drink with him. In the evening, Night Sorrow felt a little dizzy. Many people even collapsed and ran under the table. Aoi and the other two girls helped Night Sorrow back to the mansion. Then they let Night Sorrow rest while the three girls chatted in the courtyard. Sigh. Although 13 didn't say it, he was under a lot of pressure. It's too difficult to venture into an unfamiliar world alone and face danger alone, Aoi said with a sigh. If a person can't withstand the pressure in an unfamiliar world, it's easy to break down. However, all of this is in the past. Night Moon is stable, so the pressure in 13's heart lessened a lot, Yang Lei said as she looked at Night Sorrow's bedroom. But this matter is not over yet. Night Sorrow has investigated clearly, but how to solve this problem is still a problem. I hope that Night Sorrow will not continue to take lightning strikes. Xikongqiu was still worried. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow woke up and began to cultivate his spear skills. Aoi brought Night Sorrow a face wash. Yang Lei and Xikongqiu also prepared breakfast. V version 2 initial H release /.